Sports Center.
I'm Kevin Winter. Today, the last player ever drafted by the Montreal Expos to play professional sports retired. You didn't know that, did you? 18th round, 1995, the Expos select left-handed hitting catcher Thomas Edward Patrick Brady Jr. out of San Mateo, California. That player opted instead to try his hand at football. And man, was he great. Countless records, 7 Super Bowl wins, 23 seasons in the NFL. Tom Brady made it official this morning.
Good morning, guys. I'll get to the point right away. I'm retiring for good.
At 45 years old, Tom Brady is done. Cowboys owner and general manager Jerry Jones confirmed today that Mike McCarthy will indeed call offensive plays for the 2023 season. This after a separation with former OC Kellen Moore, who took the same job with the Chargers. Jones also said the Cowboys are committed to drafting a quarterback this year and added he should have been committed to drafting one every year years ago. WNBA free agent Breanna Stewart leaves Seattle. She joins the New York Liberty.
If you want to find quality new hires in the new year, post on Indeed. When you sponsor a post, you'll get matched instantly with quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed meet your job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge Studios.
That's right.
And off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR presented by Pluckers. I'm Matt.
This is Shaq O'Neal, and I hate Matt.
Paul O'Neal.
They're chanting Paul O'Neal's name.
You so. And Mr. Toby Tomplay. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there, make it a good one. Oh, by the way, it's a hump day. Woo!
It's hump day.
Let's hump, everybody.
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
Tom Brady.
Hump day.
Here you go.
It's hump day.
Have you looked at the NFC South quarterbacks for next year?
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
Oh, we're getting there.
Hump day.
Saints got a shot.
It's hump day.
No, like really, they got a shot.
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
Oh, it's National Signing Day.
Hump day.
Jaden Rashada's got a new home.
It's hump day.
His family said they didn't consider NIL this time.
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
What an idiot.
Hump day.
Brody Miller in 1 hour.
It's hump day.
Leah Vann in hour 3.
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
Taylor Calandro in studio, and he's bringing booze.
Hump day.
All right, we got a lot to do. We're glad you're with us here on a Hump Day edition of AFR presented by Pluckers. A lot to get to here over the next 3 hours. We will begin with what is the biggest story in the sports world today, and that is the GOAT putting himself out to pasture. Here's how it sounded.
Good morning, guys. I'll get to the point right away. I'm retiring for good. I know the process was a pretty big deal last time, so when I woke up this morning, I figured I'd just press record and let you guys know first. So I won't be long-winded. Like, you only get one super emotional retirement essay, and I used mine up last year. So really thank you guys so much, to every single one of you, for supporting me, my family, my friends, my teammates, my competitors. I could go on forever. There's too many. Thank you guys for allowing me to live my absolute dream. I wouldn't change a thing. Love you all.
All right, so Tom Brady, do we believe him this time? Let's go around the room. Do you believe him this time? Is Tom Brady done?
I do believe him this time.
Paulie, do you believe that Tom Brady is done?
I believe he's done.
All right, let's make that the poll question. I do as well. I think Tom Brady is actually done this time because I think he would have been done a year ago, quite honestly, but for the fact that Adam Schefter jumped the gun. Schefter got the story. He broke it. I think Tom Brady then sort of felt like he didn't get to do it on his own terms. He was retired for 40 days and then came back. He still had the itch, so he scratched it. And now after the abysmal season that they just had where there was so much turnover, it was a gigantic struggle. Their offense wasn't any good, and they're nowhere close to winning a championship. And now his family, he's divorced, as we all know, and I don't purport to have any insight whatsoever there. And I know a lot of people say he chose his football over his family. I think you respect people's family boundaries, and who knows what is going on. Even if you're Tom Brady and Gisele Bundchen, and where you live publicly in a glass house, you never really know what's going on behind closed doors. So Brady gets to this point. I agree. I think this is the last we will have seen of Tom Brady. And another part of that too is because he has his safety net. He's got a 10-year, $375 million contract as the lead analyst on Fox, and he can begin working that immediately. So, yeah, I do believe while Tom Brady is done with football on the field, he's certainly not done with football for good, but I do think this is the last that we will have seen. Ian Rappaport was on Good Morning Football shortly after Tom Brady made the announcement, and here's what Rappaport had to say about the factor, how much family weighed into this decision for Tom Brady.
The family considerations loom large here. His children moving to Florida. I know Brady wants to be around them, wants to spend a lot of time with them. If he was going to go be the quarterback of the Tennessee Titans or anyone really besides the Bucs or the Dolphins, spending regular time with his children would have been difficult. And I know where he is right now, that is paramount to Brady. So he walks away. He retires at age 45, just kind of like he always planned, but maybe not in the exact way that he always planned. And now the Bucs need a new quarterback. And now all those teams I mentioned still need a quarterback. Tom Brady, the greatest of all time, walks away. And for the first time in decades, he's not going to be on the field this year.
But he will be in the booth. Tom Brady will be now the lead analyst for Fox Sports. Of course, Kevin Burkhardt and Greg Olsen have been the lead booth on Fox this year, with Joe Buck and Troy Aikman going to ESPN for Monday Night Football. And Greg Olsen stepped into that role knowing full well that when Tom Brady retired, he was going to lose his job because Tom Brady was going to immediately become the lead analyst for Fox, which we all anticipate will happen for this coming football season. So Greg Olsen was a guest on the SI Media podcast and was asked about losing his job.
It is what it is, right? I mean, I get it. And would I have loved to get the job for the next 10 years? Of course. But do I understand that when you have a chance to do something with Tom Brady, you have to at least pursue it and take a shot at it? Of course. I get it. I told the team at Fox when, we talked all this out and they were super transparent and upfront. They were great. I said, you know what, guys, here's my goal. I hope next year after the Super Bowl, I hope the conversations internally, I said this in jest, right? I said, I hope that it's like, damn, I can't believe we have to replace Olsen. I said, and if I do that, you replace me, I go back down to my old team, great. Tom Brady becomes the A crew. I get it. It sucks, but I get it. And it's not going to take away from how I prepare. It's not going to take away from how I try to do my job. And I'll go try to do a great job next year and make it even harder on you guys.
Pretty awesome approach there by Greg Olsen, who's done a good job, right? Who has done a good job as a lead analyst of Fox. But I think that's the best perspective that you could possibly have there. I think look, there's everyone across the world today, quite literally, is going to be talking about Tom Brady. And there are going to be people with far more intimate relationships with Tom Brady that can be able to cover this better than I, and I can play a lot of reaction for you coming in from former teammates and analysts and coaches and all that sort of stuff. Tom Brady's legacy is what it is. He's the greatest ever to play football. He won 7 championships. He won 5 Super Bowl MVPs. He won 3 regular season MVPs. He's the all-time passing yardage and passing touchdown leader, records that may never be approached. I saw today that if Patrick Mahomes would have to average 300 yards per game over the next dozen years to break Tom Brady's record. Average 300 a game over the next 12 years to break Tom Brady's passing yardage record. Puts into perspective how incredible he is, how incredible his career was, and I don't know that we'll ever see it again. A guy that that wins 7 Super Bowls and plays in 10 of them. But hat tip to the GOAT for the second year in a row. I don't know that I'm going to spend too much time on Tom Brady in particular because it feels like we did that a year ago. But because Tom Brady does leave a vacancy in the NFC South, it's worth talking about here. Because if you actually look ahead at what is likely to happen in the NFC South, let's say, hypothetically, the Saints re-sign Andy Dalton and draft a quarterback. I'm pulling for Hendon Hooker. I think we talked about that yesterday. You are in no way elite at that position. Atlanta very likely rides with Desmond Ridder next year, whom they drafted out of Cincinnati this year. Carolina very likely has Sam Darnold back and drafts a quarterback. And Tampa very likely has Blaine Gabbert back and drafts a quarterback. So at the start of the regular season, the most likely scenario for the NFC South is your starting quarterbacks in this division are Desmond Ridder, Sam Darnold, Andy Dalton, and Blaine Gabbert. That might be the worst quarterback division ever. Because even in some miserable divisions over the course of time, you'll usually have one guy. Like, do you remember the year Carolina went to the playoffs? I believe it was 2014. And they were 7-8-1. They won the South at 7-8-1. You still had Cam Newton, Matt Ryan, Drew Brees. You had a lot of great quarterbacks. You didn't play a lot of defense. The division wasn't very good, but you had great quarterbacks. There have been those moments throughout history where you've had bad divisions, but I don't know that you could ever point to a time where the quarterback play, the roster of quarterbacks week one is going to be as bad as it's likely to be in the NFC South. But what it also means is 3 of the 4 teams in the division are likely drafting quarterbacks. Atlanta drafted Desmond Ridder last year. We'll see if they ride with him. But Tampa, Carolina, and the Saints all are very likely to be drafting quarterbacks. And not just you take a flyer on a guy on day 3 of the draft because you have a good grade on him and you bring him in to see if it sticks, like San Francisco did with Brock Purdy. They took a flyer on the guy. They had Jimmy G. They had Trey Lance. They took a flyer on Brock Purdy. Sometimes you do that. I'm talking about 3 out of 4 teams in your division are trying to draft their franchise this year. And that's going to make for a bumpy ride because history shows they ain't all going to hit. So who ends up under center in this division is going to be fascinating. But the Bucs were going to be the odds-on favorite because of 12, because of Tom. I mean, he was the differentiator. He's gone. It's wide open. It's Katie bar the door. Like all of a sudden, if you're a Saints fan today, you can legitimately look at this division and go, yeah, we could win it. Don't get me wrong. Saints got problems, and we've talked about them a lot. Y'all know how I feel. But this division is going to be atrocious next year. Somebody's got to win it. Might be the Saints. I don't know if that's a great thing. As odd as that's going to sound, I don't know if that's a great thing because that may only perpetuate the issues that are now plaguing this franchise because they can see a path to win this division. What an interesting offseason. It was already going to be fascinating. And it just got thrown another layer of intrigue with Tom Brady announcing his retirement. All right, it's after further review. You're always welcome to join us. Email us, tweet us, jump in the Bayou Ford YouTube chat on the Watch 104.5 ESPN YouTube channel or text in the 225. It's 396-4400, 396-4400, 396-4400. When we come back, Kat Terrell was here yesterday from ESPN.com, and she referenced a piece that was coming to ESPN.com today. It's a quarterback simulator. They got all of the NFL Nation reporters, their national NFL reporters, their cap guys, their front office people, their draft analysts, and they tried to simulate what's going to happen in the quarterback market this offseason. That is live. I want to run through the scenarios they laid out, what's likely for New Orleans, and we'll get to that. Glad to have you aboard with us here. It's a Hump Day edition of AFR, presented by Pluckers. Stick around.
AFR.
Brought to you by Rouse's, the official supermarket of the New Orleans Saints. My goodness, y'all, spring is right around the corner, and it is an awesome time to get by Rouse's for two reasons. Number one, been telling you, king cakes. You know that. You want to get your king cake for carnival season, get by Rouse's. You want to ship a king cake, get to rouses.com. You can ship a king cake anywhere in the country. Got family living out. My sister lives in Kansas City. I bet she would love a king cake. So maybe I'll have my parents ship her one. Or maybe I'll do it. Anyway, not only king cakes, crawfish are back at Rouse's. We're talking easy, grab and go. Walk in, you'll see the hot and boiled kiosk. You'll see your packaged, priced bags of crawfish. Grab it, go. Great for that snack. You want to pick up dinner for yourself or the whole family. They got boiled crawfish at Rouse's right now, live and boiled, I should mention. You can get to the website to learn more and for pricing. Rouses.com. Rouses, the official supermarket of the New Orleans Saints.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $8,500 off new 2022 Ram 1500s. New 2022 Ram 1500 trucks on our lot now with $8,500 off MSRP. All new Bayou vehicles come with a 1 million mile warranty. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou is going to do right. Bayou.
Louisiana. It's a place defined by culture, by pride, by passion, by people who do more than love this place. They celebrate it, elevate it, champion it. They are the individuals who embody what makes Louisiana great. The companies that make Louisiana a better place to work and live. The nonprofits leading transformational change in our communities. Champions of Louisiana are all around us, and LWCC is proud to celebrate them because we've always been Louisiana loyal, supporting the workers, the innovators, the change agents of this great place we call home. Who are the champions around you? Together, we can share their stories. Together, we can help our home state thrive. Together, we are Louisiana loyal. Always.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like Vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Follow us on Twitter at 1045ESPN to cast your vote in the Citizens Bank and Trust Poll of the Day. Vote daily inside Off the Bench, anytime. Hunt Palmer. And after further review, Citizens Bank and Trust brings you the Poll of the Day via Twitter at 1045ESPN.
Moon Griffon is back. The voice of Louisiana politics makes his return to Baton Rouge. Catch the Moon Griffon Show weekdays from 9 to 11 a.m. on Talk 107.3.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
After further review with Matt Moscona, ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria. Presented by Plucker's Wing Bar. Open till midnight or later every night of the week, where every Monday is all-you-can-eat wings. Plucker's Wing Bar. If you don't like our wings, we'll give you the bird.
Maybe a really disappointing night for the Pels. They fall after a shot 62% from the floor in the first half, put up 60 points. But, man, much of their lead they had worked so hard to build evaporated by halftime. It was just a 3-point lead at the half, and then a really lazy third quarter. Pels lose again. That's 9 straight. Now they got to go to Dallas. It's just, man, you're just aching for that All-Star break to show up quickly. LSU basketball back on the floor tonight. They're at Mizzou. Tigers are a 10-point dog. LSU Tigers are a 10-point dog. This is not going to go well, but they'll press on. Nothing to do but just continue to press on. And I'm going to be very honest, the more that they lose, the harder it is to talk about this team. I just don't know that there's a tremendous amount of interest because there's not a lot to say. So if there are interesting storylines to talk about with respect to LSU basketball, we'll do it. But right now, I'm going to talk about what you're interested in. And my guess is it ain't a lot of LSU basketball. So maybe we'll touch on it a bit later in the show. All right, it's after further review. Tom Brady retires today, and it comes at a time where ESPN today released what they called their they said it was simulating NFL quarterback offseason changes, trades, signings, draft picks. On Tuesday, Kat Terrell of ESPN.com was here, and she talked about this. She teased that this was coming. They got the NFL Nation reporters, the national NFL reporters, their front office people, their draft people, all together to try to simulate what would happen here in the offseason. Now, this was before the Tom Brady news. They did note, I just checked, that they have amended some of the pieces herein to account for Tom Brady not playing because he was going to play somewhere, right? Presumably, even if he wasn't back in Tampa, was he going to go to the Jets? Was he going to go to the Raiders? Some of those things that were out there. Well, now we know definitively Tom Brady's off the board. So how does that affect other things? I'm not going to delay. I'll tell you what they predicted will happen for the Saints, and then I'll kind of fill in the gaps how they got there. They do predict the Saints to re-sign Andy Dalton and draft Hendon Hooker. Okay? And I'll give you some reaction to that at the end, but let me just work through kind of some of the scenarios to answer some of the questions you probably had. So they started with Derek Carr. And, of course, Carr signed a 3-year, $121 million extension last year. Because of that huge contract, trading Derek Carr is tricky. Now, what they proposed for Carr, they said the Jets, the Saints, and the would offer trades for Derek Carr. The trade they proposed for Carr from the Saints was a 2023 third and fourth round pick. So this year's 3 and 4 for Derek Carr. Now, if I'm going to get my starting quarterback for the next half decade for a third and a fourth round pick, I'll take it. If I know Derek Carr is going to come to New Orleans and throw for 4,000 yards every year and make you a competitor, it gives you time with that. For a 3 and a 4, that's worth it. Because it gives you time then to draft and develop someone behind him, etc. The problem is the contract. The Saints already have an enormous outsized cap number where they're $57 million over the cap. You're going to see a lot of cap casualties like we see every year. They got to get their cap back in line, and they're going to free up cap space, but you're not going to take on that contract. So Derek Carr becomes a non-starter. Ultimately, they talked about Ronnie Tannehill. The Saints wouldn't be in there. A lot of you ask about Lamar Jackson all the time. They project that the Ravens will franchise tag Lamar Jackson, which I fully expect will happen. Same with Daniel Jones. Giants kind of messed up. They did not sign Daniel Jones to his fifth-year option. Now they're going to have to overpay or pay over that fifth-year option on the exclusive franchise tag. So if you want to give another year sample size before you sign one of those guys to a long-term deal, you franchise him. That's what Washington did with Kirk Cousins before ultimately they sent him to Minnesota. So that makes a lot of sense. Now, they do mention Jimmy Garoppolo, Geno Smith, likely roster cuts, along with guys like Carson Wentz, Jameis Winston, Matt Ryan, Marcus Mariota, other guys that are likely to be cut because of their contracts and their situation. So, then they look at free agents, right? Because when I mentioned Derek Carr and Tannehill earlier, those are trade scenarios. They project Derek Carr ultimately would be cut. As I've said, that's likely. Remember, when you trade for a player, you're not just trading for the player, you're also trading for the contract. So the Raiders trading Derek Carr's contract is going to be very, very difficult. Because why would I give the Raiders assets for the right to pay Derek Carr a bad deal? You wouldn't. You'd let the Raiders cut Derek Carr. He's a free agent. You can sign him to whatever deal you want. Ultimately, they say that Carr ends up with the Jets, that he would sign there as a free agent. Geno Smith, they ultimately say that he re-signs with Seattle. Jimmy Garoppolo. Now, they do project the Saints to make an offer to Jimmy Garoppolo. 3 years, $66 million. That's the projected offer. But ultimately, they say Jimmy Garoppolo will accept an offer, a larger offer, to play in Las Vegas with the Raiders. Taylor Heineke, they project, will re-sign with Washington. Jameis Winston, they're projecting to go to the Colts. And then they project Andy Dalton to re-sign with the New Orleans Saints. Likely a one-year deal similar to the deal he did this year. Now, this year was a one-year, $3 million deal. They're projecting a one-year, $10 million deal for Andy Dalton here. So if the Saints miss out on trade targets and free agents, the best scenario that they have really is maintain your continuity. You bring Andy Dalton back. Now, when I'm sitting here telling you that's the best option you have, that tells you how dire the Saints situation is. It's not going to be a desirable location for free agents, for your big-name free agents, because the Saints aren't a winning team right now, and they have a bit of a rebuild ahead and an awful cap situation, and they also don't have assets to go trade for one of the top players in free agency this year. So you're likely going to be looking toward a stopgap, i.e. Andy Dalton, and then the draft. They project Sam Darnold to be back in Carolina, Blaine Gabbert to be back in Tampa, Jacoby Brissett, who was with the Browns this year, likely to not have a deal, just sort of wait it out. And then they play through the draft. They have C.J. Stroud going to the Texans, Bryce Young going to the Colts, Will Levis going to the Panthers, Anthony Richardson going to the Bucs. And then the one that I teased a bit ago, they have Hendon Hooker going 40th overall to the New Orleans Saints with the Saints' second-round pick. By the way, let me read you the write-up here on Hooker. And this is courtesy of Kat Terrell. And then I'll react. She writes, this would be a great scenario for the Saints after failing to acquire a quarterback in free agency and missing out on top 4 passers in the draft class. The idea would be 35-year-old Andy Dalton is a bridge quarterback for 2023, and Hooker could either sit behind him or pushing for a starting job if he's ready. Of course, he's recovering from a torn ACL. She notes the Saints haven't developed a young quarterback in a long time, and being able to get a signal caller on a rookie contract would be ideal for their cap situation. I don't know, and I'm certain that over the next months, we are going to talk plenty about all of the quarterbacks available in this draft class. And it's been a long time, y'all, honestly, since we have really looked hard at quarterbacks in the draft. Because the Saints had Drew Brees, and there wasn't really any need to look at quarterbacks in the draft. Even if you wanted to take a flyer on someone, which the Saints did from time to time, took a flyer on Ian Book, took a flyer on Garrett Grayson. But the top guys in this year's draft class aren't going to be there, and maybe there's someone else that you favor or that the Saints organization will favor. You can look at anybody's draft rankings, and you'll see a lot of the same names. After the 4 that are the consensus first-rounders, Bryce Young, C.J. Stroud, Will Levis, Anthony Richardson, you got Hendon Hooker, you got Tanner McKee from Stanford, Jaron Hall from BYU, Jake Haener from Fresno State, even guys that may be a little one-off, a Max Duggan, Clayton Tune from Houston, Dorian Thompson-Robinson from UCLA, Aiden O'Connell from Purdue, Tanner Morgan from Minnesota. Names you know, guys who played really well in college. Adrian Martinez at Kansas State, Malik Cunningham at Louisville. You got a lot of names that are there, right? Stetson Bennett could be a mid-late round pick. God help us if the Saints pick Stetson Bennett. I don't know what. I'll be beside myself. But ultimately, the Saints are going to be in a position at either 29 or 40 to take who is likely the 5th best quarterback in the draft. The really interesting part is going to come when you look at the 2023 draft order, and with Tom Brady's retirement today, what does that mean for the Bucs? The Bucs now are very likely a team looking to draft a quarterback. And Tampa has the 19th pick in the draft. So what quarterback might be there for them? Again, the quarterback simulator we just looked at had them taking Anthony Richardson at 19. Is Anthony Richardson on the board at 19? I don't know. I mean, that's the lowest that I've seen him mocked. Now we'll see how the draft process plays out and what other teams are interested. What do the Chicago Bears do with Justin Fields? Do they decide that they're going to take a quarterback at 1 and trade Justin Fields? All of these are hypotheticals that we need to get the answer to that we won't know until the scenario plays out. But for the New Orleans Saints, there's a couple of realities. The division is going to be terrible. Every team is going to have a quarterback issue, either with a stopgap, a bridge player, or grooming a rookie. And so if you're the Saints, you're looking and saying, well, are we in rebuild mode? Or do we push to win the division because somebody's got it? It might as well be us. It got much more interesting with the last 24 hours. Sean Payton going to Denver, giving the Saints draft capital in round 1. Tom Brady's retirement just pulls Tampa way back to the pack. Not that they were that far ahead, but yanks Tampa back to the pack. So it adds another layer of intrigue here to the offseason. What would be your response if that happened? If the Saints re-sign Andy Dalton and draft Hendon Hooker? I'd be okay re-signing Andy Dalton on a one-year deal because I view Andy Dalton the way I'd view any stopgap quarterback. You're just what you are. You're not the franchise. You're a placeholder for whoever's going to be next. And you're just acknowledging we're not winning anything of significance. We just have this guy in this spot because we have to have somebody in that spot. But it's really a placeholder for who's next. The bigger question is who's next and how quickly can you get them ready to go? All right. It's After Further Review, brought to you by South Point Volkswagen, southpointvw.com. New, certified pre-owned in Baton Rouge and online at southpointvw.com. southpointvw.com, Louisiana's largest volume Volkswagen dealer, no matter where in the state you live. If you want to save, it's worth making that drive to South Point Volkswagen. They're right there on Airline Highway in Baton Rouge. Of course, if you're in BR, you know exactly where South Point Volkswagen is. If it's the Tiguan, the Atlas, the Cross Sport, the Passat, the Jetta, you know their full line. 9 different IIHS top safety picks. The highest safety designation that you can get on a vehicle. They're at South Point Volkswagen. Drive a Volkswagen, the style, the feel, the performance of luxury without the cost. Shop today online at southpointvw.com. southpointvw.com. For South Point Volkswagen, what's your direction? All right, quick break. We'll go around the SEC and then a little Bourbon Dictionary with Taylor Calandro. Don't you move.
AFR.
Bayou Ford has $4,000 off MSRP plus $1,000 Ford credit cash on new 22 Ford F-150 XLT trucks. That's $5,000 off plus 0% financing. And all new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million-mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Louisiana. It's a place defined by culture, by pride, by passion, by people who do more than love this place. They celebrate it, elevate it, champion it. They are the individuals who embody what makes Louisiana great. The companies that make Louisiana a better place to work and live. The nonprofits leading transformational change in our communities. Champions of Louisiana are all around us, and LWCC is proud to celebrate them because we've always been Louisiana loyal, supporting the workers, the innovators, the change agents of this great place we call home. Who are the champions around you? Together, we can share their stories. Together, we can help our home state thrive. Together, we are Louisiana loyal. Always.
Start your day with news and newsmakers. Start your day with traffic, weather, and local stories that are important to you. Kickstart your day every day. Mornings with Brian Haldane from 6 to 9 a.m. Weekdays on Talk 107.3.
All right, let's say ah.
Where'd my spotlight go?
Super weird, but we can take care of it.
Get in and get better at Patient Plus. The best kept secret in town is out. Discover Tallulah at the Renaissance Hotel on Bluebonnet.
Follow us on Twitter at 1045ESPN to cast your vote in the Citizens Bank and Trust poll of the day. Vote daily inside Off the Bench, anytime. Hunt Palmer. And after further review, Citizens Bank and Trust brings you the poll of the day via Twitter at 1045ESPN.
Hi, I'm Brandon Landry, founder and CEO of Walker.
Hi, my name is Dr. Craig Green.
This is Ryan Terrio with HUDCORoofing.com.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. No matter how big your commercial roofing job, HUDCO can help.
My patients come to me because they trust that I can get the job done at a high level. Ryan Terrio and Richard Tilley have the same level of trust when it comes to roofing.
If you have a roofing issue, call HUDCO Roofing.
Give us a call, 364-1007.
After further review with Matt Moscona, ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria. Presented by Plucker's Wing Bar. Open till midnight or later every night of the week, where every Monday is all-you-can-eat wings. Plucker's Wing Bar. If you don't like our wings, we'll give you the bird.
All right, we're glad you're rolling along with us. Going to move a little quickly here. Taylor Calandro is in studio with us for a little Bourbon Dictionary, so you can start to line up your questions right now. It is National Signing Day, so we'll turn around the SEC into a little bit of a National Signing Day update/recap. So hit it, Muse.
Around the SEC, presented by Gulf Coast Office Products, excellence in imaging solutions.
All right, so one of the big questions coming into today was where was Jaden Rashada going to land? We now know that the one-time Florida signee is headed out to the desert. He will join new Sun Devils coach Kenny Dillingham, who was a one-time Auburn assistant, as a coordinator there for the Sun Devils. Rashada's dad actually played for the Sun Devils as well. Some of the other headlines from around the conference today on signing day. Arkansas has landed four-star tight end Shamar Easter, signed on Wednesday morning. He's from Arkansas, the number 198 overall prospect in the country, the sixth best tight end. That offers from Arizona State, Auburn, Florida State, among others. Kentucky has flipped a four-star defensive lineman. One of the first moves of the day. Kendrick Gilbert flipped from Purdue to Kentucky. Wildcats had kind of been in the equation there for a while, but when Jeff Brom left Purdue for Louisville, it made the decision kind of easy for Gilbert. So he's the eighth four-star commitment for the Wildcats in this class. We mentioned Jaden Rashada. The other big name today for an SEC school, there were two, in fact. South Carolina did, in fact, get the signature from four-star Nicholas Harbor, the 39th overall ranked prospect in the country. He's a four-star from Washington, D.C., kind of been bandied about what side of the ball he would play, but he is committed to South Carolina now, choosing from USC, Oregon, Michigan, Miami, LSU, and Maryland. And Georgia added to its haul, landing five-star cornerback Ellis Robinson IV. He committed to Georgia on Wednesday, choosing among Miami, Colorado, LSU, and Alabama. And Alabama has finished with the number one ranked recruiting class for the eighth time since the Nick Tater took over the job. That should come as no surprise to any. That was anticipated after the early signing period, and there wasn't really going to be any movement after that. On the hardwood around the conference last night, Vanderbilt got absolutely throttled by Alabama. What a bounce back for the Tide. 101-44, the largest margin of victory for Alabama in its history in a conference game. I'm going to say it again slowly. 101-44. Mississippi State went on the road and beat South Carolina by double digits, 66-51. Arkansas stays hot. They win at home against Texas A&M, 81-70. Hogs moved to 4-5 in league play, and Kentucky went on the road and beat Ole Miss 75-66. You do have games tonight in the SEC. As we mentioned, LSU is on the road at Missouri. Two other games. Second-ranked Tennessee is down in Gainesville against Florida for a 6 o'clock Central tip-off. That's on ESPN2. At the same time, over on the SEC Network, Georgia visits 25th-ranked Auburn. All right, there you have it. That is Around the SEC, presented by Gulf Coast Office Products. Shout out to our guy Trey Beal and our friends Gulf Coast Office Products online at gcopnet.com. gcopnet.com for Gulf Coast Office Products. Face-to-face sales service after the sale. That's what you always get at Gulf Coast Office Products. If it's all-in-ones, if it's interactive whiteboards, if you need office equipment, they've got you covered over at Gulf Coast Office Products. Again, online at gcopnet.com. All right, y'all, been a really good day so far. We appreciate y'all for hanging out with us here on this hump day. You can always get your emails, tweets, text in 225-396-4400, 396-4400, 396-4400. Lots of ways you can get your comments in. Brody Miller is going to join us about 20 minutes from right now. Quiet day for LSU on signing day, which we expected. We didn't expect there to be any real movement for LSU today. But I do want to take a moment and sort of assess the signing class, the roster, pre-spring look. So we'll talk some LSU football with Brody Miller in about 20 minutes from right now. And then Leah Vann in hour number 3. Leah has been at all the LSU baseball availability, the scrimmages over the weekend. So we'll have Leah come aboard here in hour 3 and sort of empty the notebook a bit. And she's also working on a feature on Dylan Cruz, who has a chance, really good chance, to join Ben McDonald as being number 1 overall picks in LSU baseball history. Of course, Bregman came close to that back in the summer of 2015. But Dylan Cruz has a chance to slide in alongside Big Ben as a number 1 overall draft pick. So we're looking forward to seeing what direction Lee is taken with that story. And one more thing just on that note. I'm glad this LSU team, the baseball team, is projected to be what it is for a lot of reasons. Obviously, it's better when they win and all that sort of stuff. But you realize Dylan Cruz has never played a postseason game at Alex Box Stadium? It would be, in college baseball context, criminal for that guy to never get to experience postseason baseball at the Box, playing for something meaningful in June at Alex Box Stadium. And I'm glad not only that it seems likely he's going to get to do that this year, but that fans are going to get to watch him as well, because you're going to have a chance to look back and all the great stories we tell about great players that made huge moments and legendary moments in LSU baseball in June. Dylan Cruz is going to have his opportunity to etch his name into that lore as well, very likely this summer. So for a lot of reasons, I'm excited about Cruz having one more year here with LSU. All right, it's After Further Review, brought to you by Pluckers. Let me knock out our final break here of hour number 1. We'll come back. We'll do a little Bourbon Dictionary with Taylor Calandro. Don't you move.
AFR.
Hump Day shows brought to you by Pluckers, Nicholson, Bluebonnet, dine-in, carry-out, or delivery. So a couple things to tell you about over at Pluckers. Tonight, every Wednesday, is trivia. So we'll get to our trivia questions later in the show. So 7:30 Bluebonnet, 8 o'clock Nicholson. Get your team together. Test your knowledge. Live action trivia. You can have as many people on your team as you want, and every team gets to spin the prize wheel. So even if you don't win a round, everyone gets to spin the wheel. Everyone has an opportunity to win something. If it's Pluckers gift cards, Amazon gift cards, other things from great local retailers, they got you at Pluckers, Nicholson, or Bluebonnet. Remember, dine-in, carry-out, or delivery. Great night tonight. You got LSU basketball against Missouri. It's an 8 o'clock tip. So how about you get by either Pluckers location? 7:30 for trivia at Bluebonnet, 8 o'clock at Nicholson. So play trivia, watch LSU basketball, eat wings, drink beer. What more could you possibly want? It's all at Pluckers. Where if you don't like our wings, we'll give you the bird.
Louisiana. It's a place defined by culture, by pride, by passion, by people who do more than love this place. They celebrate it, elevate it, champion it. They are the individuals who embody what makes Louisiana great. The companies that make Louisiana a better place to work and live. The nonprofits leading transformational change in our communities. Champions of Louisiana are all around us, and LWCC is proud to celebrate them because we've always been Louisiana loyal, supporting the workers, the innovators, the change agents of this great place we call home. Who are the champions around you? Together, we can share their stories. Together, we can help our home state thrive. Together, we are Louisiana loyal. Always.
us on Twitter at 1045ESPN to cast your vote in the Citizens Bank and Trust Poll of the Day. Vote daily inside Off the Bench, anytime. Hunt Palmer. And after further review, Citizens Bank and Trust brings you the Poll of the Day via Twitter at 1045ESPN.
There it is, the extra mile. On the border of expected and extraordinary. For those willing to go further. Like vans customized for work or play. With safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Moon Griffon is back. The voice of Louisiana politics makes his return to Baton Rouge. Catch the Moon Griffon Show weekdays from 9 to 11 a.m. on Talk 107.3.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
All right, let's say
After further review with Matt Moscona, ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria. Presented by Plucker's Wing Bar. Open till midnight or later every night of the week, where every Monday is all-you-can-eat wings. Plucker's Wing Bar. If you don't like our wings, we'll give you the bird.
They're the gang with the slang. This is Bourbon Dictionary with Matt Moscona and Taylor Calandro.
All right, wrapping up hour number 1. Brought to you by Pluckers. Glad you're here. Taylor Calandro in studio. How are you, dude?
Good. It feels good. I'm not chasing a kid. I'm not yelling at a kid.
Yeah.
It's nice and
we can hear you
relaxing
loud
in here.
and clear.
It's great.
You know, it is really good. Yeah, your phone deceives us sometimes on the air.
I try to keep y'all on y'all's toes, especially Moose.
I don't know if that's a good thing. I mean, live radio, we don't need to be kept on our toes.
Well, I like to do it anyway.
We need to keep things running smoothly. But every time I get
it's
a text...
called life, Matt. I'm sorry. It's life.
Trust me, friend. I am well aware.
Life.
Every time that I get a text from you saying, hey, I'm going to come in studio, I'm like, all right, what are we sampling? So you brought is it Barrel Picking Knob Creek Rye?
Yeah, we got it Friday. It is a 6-year Knob Creek Rye.
6 year, okay. What's the proof?
115. It was barreled in March of 2016, which is the month that I met my wife.
Okay.
And it was bottled about a year ago, 2022. So they're really behind on getting stuff out to people.
Why is that?
I was talking to somebody about today.
What would be a standard turnaround?
3 months or so.
So when was it bottled?
February of last year.
Oh, so almost a year. So it took him a year.
Yeah.
Okay.
So most of the distilleries are behind, especially with stuff like this. This would be like a extracurricular thing for a lot of places, some lagniappe on the side. So this is not part of regular production generally for most places, even Jim Beam, which is a huge operation. So the barrel programs got put on the back burner a little bit during COVID, but they're starting to pick up again now.
115. You get a lot of heat, a lot of spice on the palate. You do get. You told me that it wasn't very rye-y. We talk about it, but rye is generally a spicier spirit. One of the reasons I like rye whiskey a lot. I get a lot of spice on the palate.
Yeah, there's definitely rye spice there, but I think there's more corn caramelly.
Corn for sure.
Sweetness
on the nose. It's all corn on the nose.
Yeah, Knob Creek Rye to me is a really good middle ground between bourbon and like a true rye, in my opinion. It does have a lot of sweetness from the corn, which you don't traditionally get from a straight rye.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I like this. And it's $57.99, I think, so it's under $60.
It was the first thing I noticed when you popped it open was I immediately hit the sweetness on the nose. But that was as you were pouring it, 2 feet from me. But before I even nosed it. But which is interesting. I don't really trust my nose very much, as we've talked about. Like I lost my smell with COVID. which is odd because there are some things that I do smell. But
but you still have phantom smells though.
Some things I do smell, but some things that I smell are distorted. Like if I smell a cleaning product, it doesn't matter. It could be like a floral scented. It is just a very rancid smell to me. Like any cleaning product, all I smell is just rancid awfulness.
I've heard stories about that. I mean, customers tell me that it's just every now and then customers that have long COVID, their sinuses and stuff are messed up like a year later, and they're having trouble tasting wine and stuff like that.
The weird thing for me is my taste is back. I lost smell and taste with COVID. This was 2 years ago. My taste is completely back. Smell is you could take one of my son's diapers, put it right up to my nose. I wouldn't smell it.
You're definitely sick still. Then
that's one of the weird things though. But I smell this. It's weird.
It might be the ethanol just burning.
Well, what some people have said, what I've heard is, and I don't know if this, again, I do not know if this is true, but what some people have said is the first thing to come back is sort of earthy tones. Well, that's the monitor right there. He's not. It's on.
Oh, my bad.
You're good.
I'm looking at that.
Well, that's just because that's that camera right there. So when he goes to that camera, that's what he's going to be in. But that's what's live right there. If you want to see, look, that's what's live up in the corner.
Oh.
Yeah, that's what's live. That's what the people are seeing. Anyway, so what I was told was the first thing that comes back are things that are like earthy, like potatoes or things that grow from the ground. So it makes sense. And we talk about whiskey, all of the part of the mash bill. It's all, it's
from the ground,
wheat and rye and corn.
It's part of your daily diet. Everything that should be in your daily diet is in whiskey.
And that's why I drink whiskey.
Period.
Every single day.
All your good grains that you need for your joints and everything are in whiskey.
Just drink whiskey.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's all you need to do. Yeah, but
there is a lot of sweetness on the other palate.
Yeah, but I think it's an agreeable whiskey for bourbon and rye people. Good little mixer for your old fashions too.
So available right now. So that's the Calandro's Knob Rye Barrel Pick. I told you off air. We got into. Do you have any more of the Knob Bourbon Barrel Pick that y'all did?
No, I don't think
it's gone.
so.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's gone.
We got into that on Friday. And I think it's probably gone now.
Man, I love Knob Creek. It's gone up in price over the years as everything, but still, for under $60, the picks, they're hard to beat.
Let's get some of your questions. You can email us, tweet us, jump in the Bayou Ford YouTube chat or text 225-396-4400, 396-4400. Dathan Grants said, what would you recommend for celebrating a wedding with my groomsmen?
I would try to find something super special if you can. Try to track down, I'm going to suggest this, maybe a Blanton's, which I never suggest, but just something special like that.
What if someone came into the store and was like, hey, getting married, I want to do something with a groomsman, like would you sell people something allocated? Like if you had anything that's stashed, like would that would be my recommendation, even if it's not Calandro's, to find a retailer and just ask. Explain the situation and ask.
It never hurts what you're saying.
You gotta ask.
Sometimes it depends on who you talk to, but sometimes we will get soft and say, yeah, sure. Like if it's a cute girl coming in on her 21st birthday, we might hook her up.
Oh my God.
But if you're getting married or something and you pitch that little thing, I'm probably going to feel sorry for you and I'll probably sell you something. It's a terrible decision,
That's
but
so good.
Go ahead, get married, man.
Jacob V. asked Taylor, why can't I find the Busker Triple Distilled Triple Smooth Whiskey anymore?
Busker? I have no idea what Busker is.
Okay.
Busker. Busker. Is that how he spelled it?
Yeah.
Busker.
Ask Taylor, if you were child-free, what expensive whiskey would you be most likely to purchase?
If I was child-free, it would be a Scotch. It would be, and I still purchase high-end bottles every now and then. But it would be a higher-end Scotch of some sort, a higher-end Lagavulin or a Ardbeg or something like that.
Adam Berthelot said, any Jefferson's Calandro's picks coming soon?
Man, I haven't heard anything coming from Jefferson's as far as barrel picks. They're having a hard time keeping flagships on the shelf, so I would not expect a barrel coming from them anytime soon.
John Fredrickson said, I'd like to ask about Calumet Farm small batch bourbon or any of the Calumet bourbons.
Man, I've tried several of the Calumets across the board, and I think they're super solid for what they are. Now, they do run up a little bit in price, but they are age-stated. You're talking about small batch, but they have age-stated Calumets too. And they do run up in price. They're good, though. They're good.
I won a 15-year Calumet off of Mac Chiulli with our baseball bet one year.
Did you like it?
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, it's good. It's kind of pricey. Yeah. It gets over $100, but you can't find whiskey that that age that long with the age statement for much cheaper than that, I would think.
All right, we got like 30 seconds. Matt French said just picked up a king cake from Calandro, so hopefully it's good.
I'm sure it will be. We sell about 25,000 a year. So.
That's a lot of king cakes.
It's a lot of cake.
Not as much as you sell in whiskey, though,
no.
Over the course of the year.
No.
It's Taylor Calandro from Calandro's. It's Bourbon Dictionary. Go pick up that Knob Creek Rye Barrel Pick.
And a king cake.
And a king cake. We appreciate you for coming in.
All
right, hour number 2 is next.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by Michelli Weighing and Measurement, Michelli.com, Michelli.com. Go see our friends over at Michelli Weighing and Measurement, or check them out online at Michelli.com. Everyone knows Michelli as the nation's largest distributor of scales. Go to the airport, you put your luggage on the scale. Just look like right on the side of the scale, you'll see the Michelli sticker right there. Anywhere you go. I mean, I get people that send me pictures all the time of Michelli trucks on the road or at plants or anything like that. But with Michelli, it's so much more than just weighing. If you weigh or measure something, they will sell, service, rent the products you use to weigh and measure. So I always recommend, because so often people say, I didn't know Michelli did that. Well, go to the website, Michelli.com, hit the services tab. You can request a quote. You can ship your equipment to them, and you can see all of the different things that they do and services that they offer. They are your comprehensive solution for scale service, equipment maintenance, and calibration. It's Michelli Weighing and Measurement. Online, Michelli.com.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Louisiana. It's a place defined by culture, by pride, by passion, by people who do more than love this place. They celebrate it, elevate it, champion it. They are the individuals who embody what makes Louisiana great. The companies that make Louisiana a better place to work and live. The nonprofits leading transformational change in our communities. Champions of Louisiana are all around us, and LWCC is proud to celebrate them because we've always been Louisiana loyal, supporting the workers, the innovators, the change agents of this great place we call home. Who are the champions around you? Together, we can share their stories. Together, we can help our home state thrive. Together, we are Louisiana loyal. Always.
Start your day with news and newsmakers. Start your day with traffic, weather, and local stories that are important to you. Kickstart your day every day. Mornings with Brian Haldane from 6 to 9 a.m. Weekdays on Talk 107.3.
Follow us on Twitter at 1045ESPN to cast your vote in the Citizens Bank and Trust Poll of the Day. Vote daily inside Off the Bench, anytime. Hunt Palmer. And after further review, Citizens Bank and Trust brings you the Poll of the Day via Twitter at 1045ESPN.
All right, let's say ah.
Where'd my spotlight go?
Super weird, but we can take care of it.
Get in and get better at Patient Plus.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
This is Sports.
I'm Kevin Winter. I want to take you back to the summer of 2016, July 28th to be exact, on ESPN's First Take. Some hot taker had this to say.
Tom Brady's just about done.
It could be his next game he plays. It could be a year from now. But he is going to fall off a cliff. Tom Brady is going to be a bum in short order.
Like the great Wayne Gretzky said, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take, but this one, Max Kellerman, probably should have stayed in the holster.
I just can't believe that I did that. I am such an idiot.
To Max Kellerman's credit, he owned the comments, and he's been a great sport the following 7 years as the comments have owned him. After those comments were made, Brady won 3 more Super Bowls, adding to his career total to make it 7. And including the playoffs, Brady surpassed 100,000 career passing yards. Max, we all make mistakes. You took a shot at the GOAT and missed and have had to live with it for 7 years. Not anymore, Max. Today, at the age of 45 years old, Tom Brady has retired. And this time, he says, for good from the NFL after 23 years.
The new Venture X card from Capital One. Earn 10x miles on hotels and rental cars and 5x miles on flights when you book through Capital One Travel, plus 2x miles on all other purchases. Capital One. What's in your wallet? Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com for details.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios.
That's right.
Hour 2. Off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR presented by Pluckers. I'm Matt.
You're a loser, Matt!
Shut up, kid. Paul O'Neill.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
Muso. And Mr. Toby Tomplay. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one. 1 hour from right now, our friend Leah Vann will be with us from The Advocate, talk a little LSU baseball. Tom Brady made it official, retired earlier today. We'll get some more reaction here in about 15 minutes. One player we were keeping an eye on today as far as National Signing Day was Jamel Howard, the defensive lineman out of the Chicago area, who was previously committed to Wisconsin, decommitted, reopened his recruitment. He did take a visit to LSU, but ultimately has made his announcement, and he is recommitted to the Badgers. So he will play for new coach Luke Fickell there in Madtown. So Jamel Howard picks Wisconsin, which means LSU will not sign a player on National Signing Day. First time ever LSU will not sign a player on the February date of in National Signing Day. Brody Miller, of course, of The Athletic, going to have to join us for a couple of minutes here, talk a little LSU roster. How are you, dude?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me as always. How are you?
I'm very well, thanks. It's our pleasure. Is today slow and boring?
Yeah, I guess so, and I will not complain about it. Throwback to all the February and December signing days. I used to have to wake up at 6 a.m. and wait for faxes, and today it's just a normal day, which I guess is probably what the future is going to be for the most part.
I think we always get into this, for the last 5 years or however long it's been, this question of, well, do you like it? Do you prefer it? And I don't really care because
I don't care.
it's just what it is. So I guess my real question is, how has or have you noticed the schedule change affect the way LSU has built its program or recruited? Have you noticed at all anything like that?
That's a good question. I think there's an element of, and this might not answer your question if I'm being honest, but I do think there's generally an element with LSU of never sign a guy just to sign them. Under Kelly these last 2 cycles, I think that's a very clear theme of when you bring someone in, it's because you need it or because this guy fits something that they very much want to build. And I think, for example, not signing anyone today, and yeah, they would have liked Jamel Howard, didn't work out, but there was no, we need to sign this. And I think it's probably more of a good thing, but I think there's an element of that was just kind of getting your ducks in a row in the off season. You're not necessarily chasing all these, massive 5 stars down the wire and these big NIL deals. I think there's some of that, but it's a really good question. I'm not sure we'll find the real answer until there's a little more data to sift through there.
So when we look at the class that LSU has signed, though, the 5th highest ranked high school class, the number 1 transfer portal class, do you think that there are still needs or wants on this roster?
Yeah, it's a great question because my quick answer is just from a stepping back, looking at the program, I don't think there is a glaring, you got to patch this for the rest of the offseason. I think that's a great place to be. Omar Spade's still the last one that was really there. Are there micro things that they know they have to handle better going forward? Yes, definitely. I think defensive tackle, we'll be the first to say, they had some guys flip outside of them in the last week or two before last signing day. And, they brought in a bunch of young defensive tackles in the portal, which did a good job, but I think they'll definitely need to make sure they stock up high school-wise next year if you tackle, no doubt. Linebacker could never hurt to get another body there, but there's still 4 deep that you like there. I think they will never turn down a great tight end if they can find one. But again, they have 4 guys there that like Mason Taylor. I think the other one would certainly be center. We've seen them look at Shakai Clark. We saw them look at Renfro out of Cincinnati. I think there's definitely Charles Turner just won an SEC West title as starting center. There is no desperate need, but that's the only spot where it's okay, might make sense to, if you can, get better there. But not, I think because, corner's going to probably have some growing pains this year, of course. But I give them a lot of credit for the way that LSU patched corner, but in a way that wasn't making sure they had to do this every year. Yeah. Where last year it was pretty much 3- and 4-year guys, and this time it was a bunch of redshirt freshmen, a bunch of sophomores, junior, and it's making sure that, okay, next high school class, you get it going back to normal, and you don't have to do that again. So I give them credit for how they've done it for the most part.
Brody Miller is with us on Twitter at Brody A. Miller. What about quarterback? Do you think there's any possibility, depending on what may happen in the spring, that they're still in that market?
I will never rule that out, obviously. I think, you know as much as me that Karen Nussmeier, all indications have been that he plans on staying, and that is what the LSU staff believes. But the LSU staff is also the first one to tell you, yeah, we're aware that, he's getting calls. They're aware that he is an SEC or at least a Power 5 caliber starting quarterback right now, and you can't exactly begrudge him if he decides to chase an opportunity to go start somewhere right now. You can't. So I think you would be naive to think there's no chance. And of course, if that happens, yeah, you probably do have to. But then that gets hard, right? Because who out there is like, yes, in summer of 2023, I am transferring and I'm doing that to go be a backup. That's hard to fill too. So I as of right now, I don't think they're going to be searching for a fourth, at least what I was told, kind of when Walker Howard transferred, so they're not looking for a fourth guy. But yeah, you obviously have to keep an eye on the Nussmeier situation, of course.
Well, you said that teams are calling, and I had kind of heard even before the SEC championship game that maybe Nussmeier exiting stage left was far more likely. And then what transpired in the SEC championship game transpired. And then, it's why I think all of this remains very fluid. Is there anything that you could shed light on as far as I'm not trying to kick an anthill or a rumor mill here, but a probability or likelihood of maybe looking around, or how the LSU coaching staff handles the quarterback situation in the spring?
Yeah, and I'll admit that there's some things, I won't even pretend I really have everything behind the scenes. But, I think it's reasonable to conservatively put it at 20 or 30. Does that sound I'm talking out of my butt? That doesn't sound crazy. But I think there's a lot going on in behind the scenes. That I think there's an element of, when Jaden Daniels was debating whether he was going to come back, there was definitely an aspect of that of, do I have Garrett Nussmeier on my behind? Do I have him pushing for that starting job? I think that was a tricky part of what Jaden Daniels wanted to do. And everything I've gathered is I think Kelly and Ben Brock and Sloan and all of them did a pretty good job of kind of appeasing everybody. And I think it's fair that, one, Nussmeier understands he is the next guy, but two, I always go back to Kelly's answer after the bowl, kind of unprovoked on this part, saying, yes, it is Jaden Daniels as QB1, but when you have 2 great quarterbacks, you have to be open-minded. And that part wasn't provoked. And I think that will shed light to maybe there will be more rotating in the season. Maybe there will be a little more of a competition to an extent. And I think you saw in that bowl game how that isn't necessarily a deal breaker. It kind of worked well. That's a weird data point, but still. So I think it's complicated. But I also think I've always been told Nussmeier kind of gets it. He understands that there's nothing wrong with developing. But yeah, I would never rule out him leading.
He's on Twitter at Brody A. Miller. Give him a follow there. You have a piece up at The Athletic right now about that the 2019 signing class, kind of looking at 4 years and saying, okay, what do we know? What was the impetus for doing this piece?
I think, we knew that, well, one, let's be honest, it was slow signing day, so it was good to find something signing day related. Right. But, yeah, I think it's an example of it both sheds a light on what went wrong for Ed Orgeron and sheds a light a little bit on kind of what's so far, really small sample, but what's been going right so far with Brian Kelly, which is, that 19 class, that was the class that, gave Ed Orgeron solid ground again. Yes, the 18 season made him safe again, but, Stingley committing in the summer was really what was like, it's going to be okay for a little while. There was a lot of that in that class. Getting Emery, getting Thomas, it was such a big deal for LSU. And you look back and be like, this is where a lot of programs go wrong. And every program deals with this, by the way. There's a tough thing that we all know of. The better players you can get, make it so sometimes you get away from what you were doing well. I think Clemson, you see that to some extent the last few years, that once they were able to really start getting the best of the best, maybe some shortcuts, maybe some, you see fake 5-stars a lot or fake top 50 guys a lot that they're rated somewhere, but Bama and Georgia don't really want them, and I think that happens a lot. Or guys that it's unfair to be all these kids are bad kids, but maybe character issues that maybe you'll look past because, man, it would look better on your resume to get the number 5 class as opposed to number 8. And I think that's a lot of what happened there because, the numbers are staggering with that class that looks so good, even that first year. And then it's 9 of the top 11 top 200 guys were basically either gone or just not really factors by about midway through that third season, which is normally when that's your team, And I think that's in the 2020 class with Gilbert, Ricks, that you see to some extent. It was a real thing, I think, toward the end of the Orgeron era, and I think that's what Kelly's been changing. Gives him too much credit, but there has been obviously more of an emphasis on the right guys, the guys that are going to help build the culture you want.
2020 class is bonkers. You got nothing out of that class. It is.
Ojulari, but yes, it's a weak one.
Okay, let me not use a superlative. We're speaking absolutes. You've got next to nothing out of that class. Yes, Kayshon Boutte was there. Yes, B.J. Ojulari. But I believe it's 2/3 of that class were gone before this year started. Didn't make it to their third year. It's staggering. That's how a roster falls apart.
It's true.
And I just noticed I was looking at your 2019 piece. Peter Parrish was the quarterback.
There was a streak of the guy who was 80th up to the guy who was 190th. 5 or 6 in a row were off the team for some off the field issue. It was consistent. And then obviously you have your misses, your Cardells, your disciplined guys, or an Emery, which is complicated but hasn't worked out. It was just wild, and I don't know where I was going with that, but it is just, I think it's signifying because there were Cole Tracy, huge success. Cade York. Jay Ward, really good player. Cordell Flott, really good player. But when those are your home runs in a class, that's just not a good sign.
Yeah. Well, it's the transfer portal has just changed the way that we converse about college football and how rosters are built, and that's okay. It's just the reality of the situation. You got to use it to your advantage. So, Brody Miller, again, The Athletic. He's on Twitter at Brody A. Miller. Give him a follow. Really good piece up right now, kind of looking back at the 2019 class. And we're looking ahead to spring football, which is right around the bend. We appreciate it, man. Enjoy some downtime.
Thanks a lot, guys. Take care.
All right, man. Be well. That's Brody Miller. This is After Further Review. We're brought to you by DraftKings. DraftKings, official sports betting partner of the NBA. Pels lost again last night, but you know what? If you had a same-game parlay on that game, no risk, and you had lost, you'd get your money back. Right now, all this week, make a $5 bet on any NBA game at DraftKings. New customers, make a $5 bet. Use the promo code Baton Rouge. They'll give you $200 in free bets. What? Yeah. $200 in free bets, win or lose. And every customer, new and existing, you can make a risk-free same-game parlay at the DraftKings Sportsbook. It's that easy. Just use the promo code Baton Rouge, opt in, and all this week, one same-game parlay every day on the NBA, risk-free. It's at the DraftKings Sportsbook. Learn more, download the DraftKings Sportsbook app, and use the promo code Baton Rouge. 21 and older, physically present in Louisiana. Select parishes only. Bonus issued as free bets. Opt-in required. One free bet issued based on amount of initial losing NBA bet. Eligibility, wagering, and deposit restrictions apply. Terms at sportsbook.draftking.com/basketball terms. Licensee partner Golden Nugget Lake Charles. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 1-800-426-2537. All right, we're going to knock out a quick break. Overrated, underrated in about 15 minutes. When we come back, give a little reaction on the Pels loss, and we will circle back. A lot of reaction coming into the Tom Brady news, retiring yet again. What does it mean for the quarterback situation for the NFC South? And a look at his legacy as a lot of people are weighing in. You're always welcome to join us. You can email us. You can tweet us. You can jump in the Bayou Ford YouTube chat, or you can text in the 225-396-4400, 396-4400, 396-4400. Lots of ways to get involved. Stick around with us here. It's AFR.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by the Renaissance Hotel and the Watermark Hotel, two great locations. If you're downtown or in Southtown, our friends at the Watermark and the Renaissance can certainly help make your next event spectacular, whether it's a wedding or an intimate gathering downtown at the Watermark, Baton Rouge's premier luxury hotel, or if you're at the Renaissance for a board meeting. They have elegant, intimate board meetings for a dozen people, or meeting space for up to 500 people in their spacious ballroom. At the Renaissance, they like to say, we're in the business of saying yes. So if it's annual conferences, award banquets, nonprofit school fundraisers, if you're hosting a sports team, a formal cotillion etiquette classes, they do it all at the Renaissance Hotel right there on Bluebonnet. It's the Renaissance Hotel. You can check them out online for reservations or to get more information. It's the Renaissance and the Watermark, downtown and Southtown. Check them out at the Renaissance Hotel.
Bayou Ford has $4,000 off MSRP plus $1,000 Ford credit cash on new 22 Ford F-150 XLT trucks. That's $5,000 off plus 0% financing. And all new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Louisiana. It's a place defined by culture, by pride, by passion, by people who do more than love this place. They celebrate it, elevate it, champion it. They are the individuals who embody what makes Louisiana great. The companies that make Louisiana a better place to work and live. The nonprofits leading transformational change in our communities. Champions of Louisiana are all around us, and LWCC is proud to celebrate them because we've always been Louisiana loyal, supporting the workers, the innovators, the change agents of this great place we call home. Who are the champions around you? Together, we can share their stories. Together, we can help our home state thrive. Together, we are Louisiana loyal. Always.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Moon Griffon is back. The voice of Louisiana politics makes his return to Baton Rouge. Catch the Moon Griffon Show weekdays from 9 to 11 a.m. on Talk 107.3.
Follow us on Twitter at 1045ESPN to cast your vote in the Citizens Bank and Trust poll of the day. Vote daily inside Off the Bench, anytime. Hunt Palmer. And after further review, Citizens Bank and Trust brings you the poll of the day via Twitter at 1045ESPN. After further review with Matt Moscona, ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria. Presented by Plucker's Wing Bar. Open till midnight or later every night of the week, where every Monday is all-you-can-eat wings. Plucker's Wing Bar. If you don't like our wings, we'll give you the bird.
It's the 104.5 ESPN Big Game Contest presented by Heineken Silver, where you could win $50,000 cash if your name is drawn from the pot and you've correctly guessed the final score of the game. We'll also be selecting a guaranteed local winner. The 104.5 ESPN Big Game Contest is presented by Heineken Silver. All the taste, no bitter endings. Get your score guesses in now. 1045ESPN.com.
Pels lost again last night. It was so disappointing. On the road in Denver against the team in the West with the best record. And the Pels were in fuego in the first half. It looked like the Pelicans team that we saw emerge to the best record in the West in December. They shot 62% from the floor in the first half, put up 60 points in the first half. But even with all the heavy lifting, and I tweeted this when they went to half, and C.J. McCullough made a shot just before the buzzer, actually about 3 seconds to go. Denver had whittled it all the way down to one, and C.J. hit a little mid-range jumper from the left side of the key and got it to three at halftime. They had a look from half court when that clanked in and out. It would have tied at half, but it felt in that moment like they had done so much heavy lifting. They led by double digits much of the first half, and then Denver chipped away, and it was only 3 at halftime, and it felt like all the work they had done to shoot 62% from the floor and to only be leading by 3 on the road was going to be the death of them. And ultimately, it was, as they let that lead dwindle late in the second quarter, and then in the third quarter, they just got outplayed. Again, these third quarters are killing the Pelicans right now. That's what Willie Green essentially said would happen in that game.
Into the second quarter, going into the third, we just stopped moving the basketball, stopped making simple plays. And, good teams have a tendency to try to take you out of what you do. I thought Aaron Gordon was solid defensively. He and Caldwell Pope got aggressive and got into guys. But we have to continue to execute over and over again and not get bored. I thought we got a little comfortable late in the second and in the start of the third. That's the difference in the game.
And it was. And then they went into the third quarter and got outscored by 12, 36-24. The lead was gone. And then even though they played them straight up in the fourth quarter, the damage had been done at that point. The other thing that is obvious right now is that Brandon Ingram is yet to return to form. Please don't misunderstand. I'm not blaming Brandon Ingram for the loss. His first game back, he shot about 30% from the floor, and he's really struggled to find that stroke again, something we would expect. Last night, Brandon Ingram was 5 of 17. He was 5 of 17 from the floor. He was 1 of 4 from 3. So when you play 33 minutes and you score 16 points and your plus-minus differential is minus 21, that ain't good. I don't know what else to tell you, however you play it. So they needed to get B.I. back on the floor, which they've done. They've got to get him playing better as well. And that was something Willie Green talked about after the game as well.
Yeah, he's coming off not being playing for 2 months, so he's going to have a bit of rust as he works his way through it. He'll just continue to work, continue to watch film, continue to get on the floor, and get sharper and sharper as we progress. But we kind of expected it'll take some time. But I like the fact that Brandon set the table early with his ability to see the floor, make open passes, and guys were knocking down shots. We just got to continue it.
Patrick Gerard texted and said, have we tried unplugging the Pelicans and plugging them back in? But you know what? I get it that it's a joke, but they do need a reset. And it's why this is a bit of an ostrich effect, ignoring what could prove to be in time some bigger picture issues. But we have seen this team, when they are whole, be really good. And right now, their record has fallen. They're 500 on the season. And honestly, you're running out of time. I mean, I know the All-Star break is coming up in a few weeks, And I keep just saying, just get them to the All-Star break. Just get them to the All-Star break so they can just sort of reset mentally, physically, just disengage from being in. It's almost like what halftime does for a team, right? Like if you get the crap kicked out of you, sometimes going into half is really beneficial because you just get to stop. You just get to stop, gather yourself, compose yourself, and then come back and sort of start over. That's what it will feel like, I hope, with the All-Star break. But right now, I mean, you're 52 games into the season. You got 30 to go. You got 30 games to go. And right now, you've gone from, in December, being the 1 seed to today, you're the 10 seed. You're the last team in the play-in right now. That's the awful news. The really good news is you're 1 game out from being the 6th seed, which means you avoid the play-in. Such is the lot in life right now of teams in the Western Conference. Denver is leading the West. Memphis is 2.5 games behind. Then Sacramento's 6 behind. And then you start the logjam. The Pelicans right now are 2 games out of the 4 seed. You'd have home court advantage in a first-round matchup. You're 2 games out of the 4 seed. So we keep saying they've lost so much ground. And it's miserable to watch a 9-game losing streak. There's no other way to say it. It's miserable. They're 1-9 in their last 10. But you're right there. And it's weird because it's this seesaw where you look and you go, man, you are 2 games from the 4 seed, but you're 1 game from being out of the play-in. That's the West. The West is great. The West is deep. The West is talented. The West is competitive. If the Pelicans can get healthy, you've got enough games still to make your run. What's it going to look like, though, to be in that spot? If you want to look at last year, just as for comparison's sake, the Denver Nuggets last year were the 6th seed at 48-34. So I don't know if that number will hold by the end of this year. But if the Pels need to get to, just presume that they need to get, the Pels, by the way, last year were the 8th seed at 36-46. Of course, they won their playoff series. They were 36-46. But if you need to get to 48, you're at 26 right now. That don't seem doable. I mean, you ain't going 22-10 the rest of the way. Could you win 18? If you get over 40, where's it going to put you? That's the really tough thing to know is what realistically should be your target right now. And I don't have the answer to that. I don't know if anybody has an answer to that to project what it would look like. I mean, sure, Vegas has those numbers, but mostly what I'm looking at is to say, all right, can you stay within that competitive clump where you're a game or 2 away from still being where we're talking about, in the top 6 going into the All-Star break. And hopefully after that All-Star break, then you're getting Zion back. You're whole, you're rested, you're ready for a charge in those final 20-some-odd games of what it will be, and to see if you can just floor it to the finish and get yourself the best seeding possible, avoid the play-in, maybe even host an opening round matchup, or you have home court in an opening round matchup, and get back on track. It's there. The talent's there. We've seen the continuity, the chemistry, the talent, the ability on this team. It's just a matter of unplugging and plugging back in and getting everybody healthy and reset again. And if they can do it, it's a long season. I get it. But if they can do it, get back on track, it could be a really fun springtime for this team. But if not, it's going to be disappointing how well they were playing to have it all unravel because of some injuries and some untimely, unfortunate breaks. All right. After further review, Hump Day shows, of course, are brought to you by Pluckers. We're going to talk some LSU baseball in 30 minutes right now. Leah Vann from The Advocate will be with us. She's working on a cool feature story on Dylan Cruz. So we'll talk about that and then what Leah saw from the opening weekend of scrimmages out at the box. That's coming up about 30 minutes from right now. We're brought to you by Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. Energy-efficient replacement windows, beautiful entry doors, hardy plank, and vinyl siding. They do it all over at Relief Windows. They do it better than anyone else. I was chatting with my buddy Brandon Holly earlier today on the phone. Man, they are rocking and rolling. If you need windows, doors, or siding, they do it all. Remember, they're beautiful entry doors. They're composite. They come finished in your favorite color, and they will not warp. These doors stood the test during the 2016 flood. So many people who had flooded They just took the doors off the hinges and repainted everything and just rehung the door. I mean, it just cleaned it and rehung the door. It's Relief Windows. Energy-efficient replacement windows, beautiful entry doors, hardy plank and vinyl siding. It's Relief Windows and reliefwindows.com. All right, y'all, it's after further review. Let me knock out a quick break. We'll come back. We'll do a little overrated, underrated. The big news of the day, if you haven't heard, well, by now you have heard certainly. Tom Brady retires again exactly 1 year after he announced his retirement a year ago on February the 1st, and then returned 40 days later. Now Tom Brady says he's retiring. He noted for good. I believe him. I think many people believe him this time around. That's actually our poll question. If you want to go vote for it, the Citizens Bank and Trust poll question of the day on the 1045 ESPN Twitter feed. Do you believe Tom Brady is really retired? I would imagine it would be overwhelming. I don't know that you get to go back to this well twice, but Tom Brady is in fact done. That makes the NFC South completely wide open, which makes what the Saints do with the 29th pick in the draft and the 40th pick in the draft even more interesting as they go through this offseason. All right, it's after further review. We'll do some overrated, underrated when we come back. Stick around, it's AFR.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by River City's 1 Hour Air, where they're always on time or you don't pay a dime. Earlier today, I was sitting at a red light on Airline Highway. I was bringing Drew to school. Sitting at a red light on Airline near Old Hammond, and the Hammond Air Shopping Center, and making the turn right in front of me. What I always tell you to look for: big yellow van with a giant clock on the side. It's River City's 1 Hour Air. You can't miss them. I mean, they're giant yellow billboards rolling all over town. But inside of those vans are the technicians that are the difference for River City's 1 Hour Air. You see, they invest in their people. They have amazing benefits package, which is why they're always hiring. If you want a career instead of a job, look up our friends at River City's 1 Hour Air. But they invest in their people, in continuing education. There's devices on equipment on their trucks that other companies never even heard of. It's River City's 1 Hour Air. There's a reason they got more than double the amount of 5-star Google reviews than the next closest competitor. It's River City's 1 Hour Air. 752-0001, where they're always on time or you don't pay a dime.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $8,500 off new 2022 Ram 1500s. New 2022 Ram 1500 trucks on our lot now with $8,500 off MSRP. All new Bayou vehicles come with a 1 million mile warranty. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou is going to do right. Bayou.
Louisiana. It's a place defined by culture, by pride, by passion, by people who do more than love this place. They celebrate it, elevate it, champion it. They are the individuals who embody what makes Louisiana great. The companies that make Louisiana a better place to work and live. The nonprofits leading transformational change in our communities. Champions of Louisiana are all around us, and LWCC is proud to celebrate them because we've always been Louisiana loyal, supporting the workers, the innovators, the change agents of this great place we call home. Who are the champions around you? Together, we can share their stories. Together, we can help our home state thrive. Together, we are Louisiana loyal. Always.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Start your day with news and newsmakers. Start your day with traffic, weather, and local stories that are important to you. Kickstart your day every day. Mornings with Brian Haldane from 6 to 9 a.m. Weekdays on Talk 107.3.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
All right, let's say ah.
Where'd my spotlight go?
Super weird, but we can take care of it.
Get in and get better at Patient.
After further review with Matt Moscona, ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria. Presented by Plucker's Wing Bar. Open till midnight or later every night of the week, where every Monday is all-you-can-eat wings. Plucker's Wing Bar. If you don't like our wings, we'll give you the bird.
A good night for the Otter last night. He told you he said UNLV owed him money after a bad beat earlier in the year. UNLV +3 did, in fact, hit last night. Kansas State +9 did not hit. They lost by 12 last night to Kansas. Arkansas did in fact cover the 3 against Texas A&M, and TCU covered the 2 against West Virginia. So, and if you were here, remember Otter did give you an early play yesterday. Told you to play the 5:30 game. That was Mississippi State laying 9 at South Carolina, which did, in fact, hit. So the Otter with a 4-1 day yesterday if you were playing along. He has given you 2 early games. So right now it's 4:36 Central Time. These tip off at 5:30, so a little less than an hour from right now. Otter's giving you Purdue laying 9.5 and Xavier laying 3.5. As he always says, if you got on the half and it's single digits, buy the half a point. So if you're looking at Purdue -9.5, buy it to 9. If you're looking at Xavier -3.5, buy it to 3. So Purdue and Xavier, the 2 games Otter's given for the early plays. Again, tipping off about an hour from now. Otter will be with us in hour number 3. All right, it is after further review. We'll do a little overrated, underrated here in just a quick second. I love telling you about Hudco Roofing, HudcoRoofing.com. Man, we had that torrential rain on Sunday. And I was talking to my buddy Stevie Levy, the king of the wing, over at Pluckers. And they had a few little spots that they've been dealing with whenever they get a hard rain where it would leak. And I said, man, why didn't you tell me? I had our repairs crew manager, Scott, on the phone with Steve Sunday, and he was on the roof on Monday over at Pluckers. And Steve said, I didn't know y'all did that. Oh, of course we do. From the smallest repair at your home or commercial building to the largest roof replacement. I mean, we do these gigantic commercial TPO jobs, like enormous jobs, all the way down to you got a roof leak, we'd love to come help you out. Because we know even if it's a small leak or a small repair job or something like that, eventually the time is going to come where you're going to need a roof replacement or something, and we want that relationship with you. And we're going to treat you right. It's Hudco Roofing, a Louisiana-owned, Louisiana-operated company with Louisiana people that uses Louisiana products. Our CertainTeed shingles are manufactured in Shreveport, Louisiana at their plant, so we're supporting Louisiana jobs and our state's economy. It's Hudco Roofing. Hey, look, 318-225-504-337. We got a phone number for an office near you, whatever area code you're in. Check it out at HudcoRoofing.com, HudcoRoofing.com. You'll see the phone numbers at the top. You can read the reviews. You can get your free inspection request in right there, or you can always call us right there. It's Hudco Roofing, HudcoRoofing.com. Do business with someone you know, Hudco Roofing and HudcoRoofing.com. All right, hump day, middle of the show. So let's do a little overrated, underrated.
Overrated or underrated?
I personally think he's criminally underrated.
All right, Muse, what you got?
All right, let's start it off with this one here. Overrated or underrated karaoke?
Karaoke's overrated. Let me tell you why. Everybody thinks karaoke night's a lot of fun, gets people in. Sometimes, when you get liquored up enough, you'll be dumb enough to go up on stage and think you can sing. Sometimes. But generally speaking, things that anybody can do are the best group activities. So, like, golf isn't the best because not everybody's good at golf. Like bowling, anybody can take a ball and throw it down a lane. You put it to bumpers if you need it, right? Not everybody's even comfortable getting up and doing karaoke. And generally, even when you think it's a good idea, you may be having fun doing the karaoke, but most people are not having fun listening to you do karaoke. So karaoke is an overrated activity.
Overrated or underrated? Caramel.
Underrated. Most people just default to chocolate. I think caramel is wonderful in so many different entities. Do you like caramel topping on your ice cream?
Yeah, it's pretty good.
You like caramel in cookies?
I can't say I've had it too much, but it sounds like it'd be good.
What about caramello, the candy?
Never had that.
You've never had a caramello? Paul, have you ever had a caramello? Yeah, it's like 4 bricks. They break apart. It's chocolate with caramel in the middle.
Nope.
All right, we're having caramellos tomorrow. I'm bringing caramello. I'm making a note. Hey, Siri, remind me to bring caramello tomorrow. Got it. All right, we're going to have caramellos tomorrow. Caramello is dramatically underrated. Everyone defaults to chocolate. Caramello is superior. Caramel. But caramel is great candy, too.
Great combo, though, there. Chocolate and caramel together.
It is.
Fantastic.
It's wonderful.
Fantastic. Overrated or
You put caramel in your coffee?
I don't drink coffee, but...
If you did, you could put caramel. You just take one of those little, like, Smucker's caramel thing, just the topping for ice, just put that in your coffee if you want something sweet. Caramel toppings on the whipped cream for coffee drinks. Caramel's great. It's a very versatile, trust me, as a fat guy with a sweet tooth, caramel. Yes, caramel. Very underrated.
Overrated or underrated? Trevor Ariza.
I'm going to go macro here and say that if you played in the National Basketball Association, you are part of such a dramatically minute group of human beings that if anyone is going to criticize you for not being good, they have lost perspective on the fact that you are playing in the NBA makes you dramatically rare. So Trevor Ariza, underrated.
Underrated, okay.
Underrated.
Okay.
Yes,
okay.
Underrated. The man played in the NBA.
Yeah, for a long time.
Underrated.
For a very long time.
If you play...
Former Hornet for a minute there.
Jamarcus Russell, underrated. He was the number 1 pick in the draft.
Fair.
He could throw a ball 75 yards on a knee.
Yep.
People magnify the failure because he didn't live up to the expectations, but when you are a human... of which a fraction of a percent gets to play professional football, and you were actually the first pick in the draft, you are awesome. That didn't work out in the NFL, but the fact that people clown him is stupid because dude's 6'6", throw the ball 80 yards. Anyway.
Overrated or underrated? Getting a massage.
I think getting a massage is properly rated. Everybody knows the benefits of getting a massage. We all should do it more. Sometimes it's just a matter of cost and time. We know the benefits. The benefits are proven medically. We should just take time to do it more. So getting a massage is properly rated.
Overrated or underrated? Phoenix, Arizona.
Are there people that don't like getting massages?
I don't know. I've never met one. So I am inclined to say no.
So there are no absolutes. So there are people that don't like getting massages, for sure. I'd be curious to know what the reason is. If it's just you're uncomfortable having someone else touch you, if you're uncomfortable, with the sort of privacy, if you're nude under a sheet or whatever the case may be. But my goodness, it's like so relaxing. It's great. Yeah. Well, it is properly rated. Everybody. What was the other one?
Phoenix, Arizona.
Underrated. I think people don't realize it's a top 10 market in America. It's a reason it is. It's a reason people live there. It's clean. There's tons of business and industry and commerce there. It is a wonderful American city, and I'd move there tomorrow. I mean, let me rephrase. I have no plans to move or anything, but like if they said, hey, Matt, we have this amazing opportunity. You get to move to Phoenix. Okay, I'll go to Phoenix. Like, I don't know that I would go to Boston. I don't want to live somewhere where it's terribly cold for 7 months out of the year and gray, or Chicago. Like, then you asked me about Chicago last week. Chicago's overrated. Phoenix is underrated.
That's overrated or underrated.
This is After Further Review. We're presented by Pluckers, Nicholson, and Bluebonnet. Dine and carry out or delivery. Trivia tonight and every Wednesday at both Pluckers locations. So get them by 7:30 at Bluebonnet, 8 o'clock at Nicholson. Test your knowledge. Eat wings, drink beer, watch sports on TV. Pluckers, you don't like our wings, we'll give you the bird. All right, we'll wrap up hour number 2. Muso will have Tigers in the pros. Talking some baseball with Leah, Vann of The Advocate coming up here in about 15 minutes from right now. Glad you are here on a Hump Day edition of AFR.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by Darren James and Associates, brokered by eXp Realty. Every home listed by every company, all in one place. Agent225.com. That's agent225.com. One of the things that Darren does exceptionally well is Darren uses so much of his social media platforms to help educate you, to help educate his clients, even if you're not his client. Darren has a post up right now that if you look at any of his social media, his Facebook, it's 3 mistakes that many people make when selling your home. Overpricing, poor presentation, lack of marketing, with the explanation right there. It's just free advice. Darren is here to help you get onto whatever is next in life. He is so pot committed on his clients. That's why he gets the results he does. If you need to sell your home, you need Darren James. 335-7666. Call him right now. 335-7666 or online, agent225.com.
Think real estate, think Darren James.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
At Ochsner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Ochsner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one. You. Ochsner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Louisiana. It's a place defined by culture, by pride, by passion, by people who do more than love this place. They celebrate it, elevate it, champion it. They are the individuals who embody what makes Louisiana great. The companies that make Louisiana a better place to work and live. The nonprofits leading transformational change in our communities. Champions of Louisiana are all around us, and LWCC is proud to celebrate them because we've always been Louisiana loyal, supporting the workers, the innovators, the change agents of this great place we call home. Who are the champions around you? Together, we can share their stories. Together, we can help our home state thrive. Together, we are Louisiana loyal. Always.
Moon Griffon is back. The voice of Louisiana politics makes his return to Baton Rouge. Catch the Moon Griffon Show weekdays from 9 to 11 a.m. on Talk 107.3.
Follow us on Twitter at 1045ESPN to catch. After further review with Matt Moscona, ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria. Presented by Pluckers Wing Bar. Open till midnight or later every night of the week, where every Monday is all-you-can-eat wings. Pluckers Wing Bar. If you don't like our wings, we'll give you the bird.
Oh, well, this is pretty cool. Just got this in the inbox from the Baton Rouge Food Bank. LSU pitcher Thatcher Hurd is he's volunteering at the LSU food pantry and a ride along with the Greater Baton Rouge Food Bank truck to opening doors for the food pantry for a tour. And he is announcing this. I guess I could say this. I mean, they sent me there's no hold on it. It's not embargoed. So yeah, I can say this. Thatcher Hurd's going to donate his NIL money, his NIL earnings, to the food bank. That's really cool. And we have heard some of those stories. Actually, we've heard some of. A year ago, there was an LSU baseball player that, as a result of NIL, said, "Hey, coach, take my scholarship money and give it to another player." Jay Johnson has said that. He's not disclosed names, but you do see some of this. I mean, I think you see guys who, like, I'll tell you what, we did an interview yesterday with Jay Clark, the LSU gymnastics head coach, for Rosters to Riches. It's the NIL podcast I do with Jonathan Pixley from Match Point. Of course, Match Point is really on the forefront of all the NIL space. Really, think of Match Point kind of as like the Cash App or the Venmo of NIL. Basically, it acts as the intermediary between the student athlete and the business. And Match Point is serving that function for Bayou Traditions, the new LSU collective. So when the collective does a deal with the student athlete, it runs through Match Point. But Jay Clark, was doing an interview that told us that Olivia Dunn, for every deal she has done, every NIL deal she has done, she has made sure that whoever she's done the deal with has gotten a care package for every one of her teammates of that product and products. So you do see some of these with the student athletes that have opportunities to do NIL deals that are given back. When did C.J. Stroud, who got suits for all of his teammates at Ohio State, suits or luggage, something like that for all of his teammates at Ohio State, which was really cool. Maybe Quinn Ewers did luggage, C.J. Stroud did suits. It was something along those lines. But all these guys and gals, I think, are there's a lot of them that are managing it very well. So tip of the cap to Thatcher Hurd. He's going to donate all of his NIL earnings to the Greater Baton Rouge Food Bank, which is really, really cool. All right, Muso, Tigers in the Pros.
Tigers in the Pros. They still bleed purple and gold. They're just really rich now. Presented by Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, where Baton Rouge gets engaged.
All right, so the Brooklyn Nets, they visit the Boston Celtics tonight. Brooklyn will be without Ben Simmons. Ben will miss another game with knee soreness. Keep you updated on his status. Cam Thomas will be on the floor and available for the Brooklyn Nets tonight, again, as they travel to Boston. The Portland Trailblazers travel to Memphis to face the Grizzlies. Look at it, Trendon Watford played 34 games so far this season. He is averaging 5 points and 3 rebounds in those 34 games. That's a 6 p.m. tip-off from FedEx Forum. The Houston Rockets, they host the Oklahoma City Thunder tonight in I was going to say a battle of teams lower in the Western Conference, but the Thunder are actually kind of decent. Tari Eason's played in all 50 games for Houston this season and is putting together a nice rookie campaign, as we keep telling you. 8 points and 6 rebounds is his average. And the Minnesota Timberwolves, they tip off at 7 p.m. versus the Golden State Warriors. Tonight, Naz Reid's averaging double figures off the bench, 10 points to go along with 5 rebounds. So a nice season for Naz off the bench. A couple of things to tell you about on the golf circuit. The AT&T Pebble Beach Pro-Am gets underway tomorrow. Ben Taylor in the field out there in SoCal. He will tee off at 11:47 a.m. Central Standard Time. Only former Tiger in the field there, but the Korn Ferry Tour heads to Panama. The Panama Championship. Curtis Thompson.
Yeah!
Curtis Thompson in the field there. An 11:37 a.m. Central Time. So actually just 10 minutes separate from Ben Taylor, but a different tournament.
Don't think I don't see your game here, Muse.
What game? What are you talking about?
It's just pandering to try to throw us off your scent. Throw us off the beat. I know what you're doing. You don't like Curtis Thompson.
That's
you
not
never
true.
have. And
That's
you're just
not
throwing
true.
something out there about the Korn Ferry Tour to make us think that you actually like Curtis Thompson.
I hope
we
he
know
does well.
We
on the
know.
Korn Ferry Tour.
Don't you?
Gets that PGA Tour card. I'm all for it.
You disgust me.
That's Tigers in the Pros.
Presented by Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. LMFJ.com. LMFJ.com for Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. 2 locations in Baton Rouge, corporate in Bocage, and in the Mall of Louisiana. It is February 1. Gents, you've got 2 weeks. Clock is ticking, like on the show 24. The clock is ticking. 2 weeks till Valentine's Day. Don't screw it up. Get to Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. Thrill her this Valentine's Day with a gift in the red box from Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. LMFJ.com. LMFJ.com for Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. All right, it is after further review. Leah Vann of The Advocate. She's going to jump aboard with us right after SportsCenter. We'll talk a little bit about LSU baseball. She'll empty the notebook from what she saw from the scrimmages this weekend. That's next to wrap up or to start hour number 3 here on AFR. That's coming up after SportsCenter. Stick around.
AFR.
Okay, y'all, it is February, and all this month at the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana, of course, the month of love, and they have great specials for you all this month, including $100 off lip filler all this month at the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana. Other great specials, they've got the latest technology in microneedling at the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana, and it is deeply discounted all this month. If you're doing eyes, face, neck, whatever it may be, check it out at the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana. Voted the nation's best aesthetic practice. That was at the National Aesthetic Show in Las Vegas. Right here in Baton Rouge, voted the nation's best aesthetic practice. If it's hormone replacement therapy, body contouring, surgical and non-surgical, minimally invasive procedures, they've got you covered. You want to look and feel like your younger self? You can at the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana. Baton Rouge, Lafayette, and online at theantiagingclinics.com.
Follow us on Twitter at 1045ESPN to cast your vote in the Citizens Bank and Trust Poll of the Day. Vote daily inside off the bench anytime. Hunt Palmer. And after further review, Citizens Bank and Trust brings you the Poll of the Day via Twitter at 1045ESPN.
There it is, the extra mile. On the border of expected and extraordinary. For those willing to go further. Like vans customized for work or play. With safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Louisiana. It's a place defined by culture, by pride, by passion, by people who do more than love this place. They celebrate it, elevate it, champion it. They are the individuals who embody what makes Louisiana great. The companies that make Louisiana a better place to work and live. The nonprofits leading transformational change in our communities. Champions of Louisiana are all around us. And LWCC is proud to celebrate them because we've always been Louisiana loyal, supporting the workers, the innovators, the change agents of this great place we call home. Who are the champions around you? Together, we can share their stories. Together, we can help our home state thrive. Together, we are Louisiana loyal. Always.
Start your day with news and newsmakers. Start your day with traffic, weather, and local stories that are important to you. Kickstart your day every day. Mornings with Brian Haldane from 6 to 9 a.m. Weekdays on Talk 107.3.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
All right, let's say ah.
Where'd my spotlight go?
Super weird, but we can take care of it.
Get in and get better at Patient Plus.
This is Sports.
I'm Kevin Winter. Where do you want to begin? With the records, the Super Bowl appearances, or the Super Bowl wins? Tom Brady played quarterback in the NFL for 23 seasons, and for 20 of those, you could probably say he did it at an exceptionally high level. You want to debate the other three? That's fine. Today, Tom Brady officially announced his retirement from the league again, but this time he added, for good. Tom Brady, 23 years in the league, 7 titles, 5 Super Bowl MVPs, 3 league MVPs, retiring at the age of 45 years old. Troubling news out of the NFL. Eagles offensive lineman Josh Sills has been placed on the commissioner's exempt list. He is not permitted to travel or participate in practices or games while he's on this list. This includes leading up to the Super Bowl. All of this after he was indicted by a grand jury on 1 count of rape and 1 count of kidnapping stemming from an incident that took place in 2019. According to the Ohio Attorney General's website, it says Sills engaged in sexual activity that was not consensual and held the victim against her will. Both charges are first-degree felonies. Nets and the Celtics game out of an ESPN television doubleheader, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time tonight in Boston.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. At Progressive, they're making things even easier to help you bundle your home and car insurance together so you can save on both. Learn more at Progressive.com or 1-800-PROGRESSIVE.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios.
That's right.
Hour 3, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR presented by Pluckers. I'm Matt.
Love you, Matt.
Paul O'Neill.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
Muso. And Mr. Toby Tomplay. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there, make it a good one. 5 o'clock quitting time. Glad you are driving home with us. We will talk a little about LSU's basketball game tonight at Mizzou. Can LSU snap its 8-game losing streak? We'll recap National Signing Day. Nothing to report as it pertains to LSU, but some news here in the Southeastern Conference. Pluckers Trivia later this hour as well. We'll start, though, by talking a little bit of LSU baseball. Our friend Leah Vann from The Advocate, good enough to join us here as the Tigers are at it, the preseason #1 team in the country. How are you, Leah?
I'm doing well. It's good to be back on the show.
We appreciate the time as always. So Tigers hit the practice field on Friday. How did they set up the weekend, just for the listeners' benefit that may not be familiar with how everything was structured?
Yeah, so obviously Sunday was a rain delay, but they just had scrimmages. Friday, I think it started at 4:30, and then on Saturday it started at, gosh, I was there. I don't even remember what time. But then, yeah, and then on Monday
they haven't even started the season. The days are already running together.
Yeah, well, buddy, I've got a lot of preseason stuff I'm writing. Okay,
yeah.
And so on Monday they had another scrimmage that was a little bit shorter. I feel like it was only 4 or 5 innings. But, they're basically, it's been interesting because they'll, say, Gavin Guidry I saw playing, second base for, the top of the first and the bottom of the first with different guys on the infield around him, right? And then you see kind of Ben Nippolt doing the same thing or moving to, third base when Tommy White goes to bat. And so some of the guys were actually just kind of focused on their fielding position and different shifts and things, while other guys were specifically matching up with specific pitchers. And so at the plate. And so Paul Skeens only bat against, I think it was Griffin Herring, who's a left-handed pitcher. And he batted against him twice. And I think that was something that was on purpose. And you're getting a lot of those true freshmen like Mick Ball and Ethan Fry, at the plate. And so we got to see kind of a wider variety of guys, but everybody's wearing the same color, by the way. So it's really tough. And if they're always They're always shifting guys around in the outfield and the infield on you, and then they put in different guys at the plate. So,
could you tell if there was what the intent was, Jay, with the way they structured? Like, was it, all right, we're trying to focus on getting guys defensive work, or like you mentioned, Skeens facing lefties? Like, what was the intent of how they structured everything this weekend?
I think the pitching is pretty intentional. Like, the guys who are starting, you can tell are guys who are competing for the starting rotation, which is probably goes without saying. But, like the Christian Little and Chase Shore started on, was that Monday? And then Thatcher Hurd started on this weekend. Also, Paul Skeens started on Friday. So those are the guys who are going about like 3 or 4 innings right now. Grant Taylor, I think, did 4 innings at the end of one of the other games. So the guys who you think are in contention to start on the mound are going to throw multiple innings, and then you're going to see some bullpen guys like a Bryce Collins go for like 1 inning. You're going to see a true freshman like Griffin Herring, a lefty, going for 1 inning. I think in the fall, like we saw Nate Ackenhausen, he's a JUCO transfer, I believe, and he was actually starting to throw a few more innings. I know that Christian Little missed some time, so having him throw multiple innings is a really good sign. But as far as like starting everywhere else, I mean, I feel like, second base is pretty fluid between like Ben and Jack Merrifield, and depending on when Gavin Dugas returns, which will be this weekend, he should be in the scrimmages. And then third base is going to be Tommy White, but you're going to see like either Merrifield or Ben Nipolt kind of being the backup position in those scrimmages, because you got to have everybody play something. And, the backups to like Trey Morgan would be like an Ethan Fry or Jared Jones. Both of those guys can also play catcher. Alex Milazzo, I think, is probably going to be your starting catcher, because he's the one that's kind of catching the Paul Skeens. He's the one that's catching the Christian Little. And I think I saw Brady Neal catching Chase Shores, so I feel like he might be like that next guy up. So, yeah, You can kind of get a sense of what's going on.
Okay. Leah Vann's with us. She's on Twitter at @LVan_sports. You did get to see a lot of the newcomers in the fall. Any observations from fall to now with respect to the newcomers?
Yeah, I think that Paxton Kling is a really fast base runner, which is something that LSU was kind of lacking last year. He's either going to play, I think he's going to play left field a little bit this year. And he's also really good at the plate, so he's got a great approach. And so I think he's a guy to kind of keep an eye on, and kind of made a splash this fall. There's a lot of really big dudes on this team, like really tall, like could play tight end for LSU football, like big guys. So it's a very different looking team to me. And then as far as the athleticism level, I mean, I think even like Mick Paul, who's kind of like shadowing Dylan Cruz right now at that center field position, I think he's somebody to keep an eye on in the coming years. And then you've got all the freshman pitchers. I mean, Chase Shores is like 6'8", and he's got a really good arm. Everybody's raving about him. So yeah.
I think it's pretty obvious there's going to be a lot of newcomers that play a key role on this team. Freshman roles, so you mentioned Kling in the outfield. We've talked a good bit about him. Is there anybody else among the freshmen, aside from Kling and Gavin Guidry, I guess Brady Neal behind the plate, freshmen that are worth keeping an eye on that could carve out a role for themselves here?
I just forgot to mention Gavin Guidry, but he's still kind of
you did.
learning.
Gavin Guidry was the first one you mentioned, was him playing at second base.
Gosh.
Yeah, you did.
Okay. Well, yeah, he's kind of learning the second base position. So I guess if Jordan gets hurt, you've got him at shortstop kind of thing. But as far as other freshmen, I think like Jared Jones and Ethan Fry, I haven't figured out the proper pronunciation.
We're going to have to ask him, because I've heard it both ways.
Need to ask him. I've heard it too. And so I think that they both have a lot of power when it comes to hitting. And I feel like it's going to be hard to keep them out of the lineup. I think you got to put them in sometimes as like pinch hitters, if somebody's having a lot off day, or, in the future, both are options at first base. But yeah, I think there's a lot of freshmen who are going to contribute this year, not just on like the pitching side, which is pretty obvious, but also with Brady Neal catching, he's definitely going to contribute. And I think some of those other guys with a lot of power at the plate, I think they're going to get opportunities.
A couple more minutes here with Leah Vann talking some LSU baseball as the Tigers have officially opened practice here, doing so last Friday and scrimmaging throughout the weekend. The other thing I'm really curious about, Leah, is some of these veteran guys, right? Like you mentioned, Gavin Dugas is going to be coming off of injury. We know Braden Jobert, who hit 18 homers a year ago, was kind of fighting for a spot. Cade Belloso's back for another year. These guys that are veterans in this program that may have to take a diminished role. How do you anticipate that working out and that going over?
I think the veterans are the most important piece for team chemistry. And I'm planning on doing a story about this, so don't tell anybody from any other publication. But I think that like the guys like Cade Belloso and Gavin Dugas are guys that like people really look up to. I think Cade is more like the fun guy in the dugout. And then you've got like Gavin, who's also, I've heard he's quite the jokester, but I also think that people really look up to him and his versatility and kind of how he's powered through a lot of adversity over the years. So I feel like those guys, they've accepted their roles as like I'm going to be a leader. I'm going to be the guy who's kind of lifting people up. And, you know, they're also going to probably see some time. I've seen Cade Belloso hit a home run like the other day. But yeah, you're right. They're going to have a diminished role, but I think that's what's keeping this team gelled, right? With all the different newcomers, I think these older guys are like, hey, here's how we're going to make them a part of the LSU Tigers.
Last thing for you. Let's look ahead a little bit here. I know they're supposed to scrimmage tomorrow, but with the threat of weather in Baton Rouge, they're going to hold that off till Friday and scrimmage through the weekend. Are there questions that you think need to be answered here, or maybe the most prominent questions you think need to be answered in the next 2 weeks?
Yeah. I mean, I think I would like to know who will be consistently playing second base. I know they said they're going to switch a lot of people out depending on the matchups. I want to see what that looks like. I think the outfield that's the one thing I really haven't looked into much yet, other than Dylan Cruz, of course. Like, you know, we've got Josh Pearson, Josh Stevenson, Paxton Kling, Braden Jobert. I mean, that's 4 guys competing for essentially 2 spots in the outfield. And so I'm curious to see how they're going to stack that up and, you know, if it's just going to be a matchup situation or if it's going to be like last year where Josh Pearson kind of wins the job over at right field, right? So I'm curious to see what the outfield looks like.
Leah, before you go, I know you're working on a feature on Dylan Cruz. What can you tell us?
It's been really interesting. I did not realize. I mean, I think it sounds like stupid to say this, but I did not realize the sheer amount of work ethic he's put into his career. Something I found really interesting, I guess a little tease, is that his high school put in place what was called the Dylan Rule. So he would go to school until about noon and then go train for hours on end. And where he began his career was not in a hitting facility that you would have anticipated he began his career. So he's very much trained in a very old-fashioned way. And he's not just a natural. He is somebody who is obsessed and works at it because he truly wants to be great. And so it's been really interesting getting to know every kind of facet of his life.
That'll be out opening weekend-ish?
Yes, it might be online like the day before or 2 days before. We'll have to ask the digital team.
Well, we'll look forward to it. I think, as anticipated season as this is, and we're looking forward to guys like Dylan and obviously Tommy White and a lot of the names that we've seen. It's for a program that's done as much as LSU has, even to have this much anticipation is a bit of an outlier. So we're looking forward to it. Make sure you follow Leah on Twitter at @LVan_sports. Leah Vann of The Advocate covering LSU baseball. We appreciate it. We'll talk soon.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Be well. It is after further review. We'll knock out a quick break. Tiger basketball team is up in Como to take on Missouri. Let's hear a little bit from Matt McMahon as he previews LSU's trip up to Columbia. That's coming up next on AFR.
AFR.
Get Gordon and get it done. Gordon McKernan injury attorneys, of course, helping injured people around the state of Louisiana for 3 decades. And now Gordon getting it done in the NIL space. And not just doing deals with student athletes to get them, some money on the side, but positively impacting the community. there's a new promotion that Gordon has launched today, and it's Playing for a Purpose. So Gordon Gives, which is the charitable arm of Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys, they'll donate $20 for every point scored by Alexis Morris and Angel Reese to the Turner Syndrome Foundation. That's a charity chosen by Kim Mulkey, which, if you know anything about the Mulkey family, they were affected by Turner Syndrome. So another great way that Gordon McKernan is choosing to give back to the community that he served for more than 30 years. You know what to do. Get Gordon and get it done. Go to getgordon.com.
Bayou Ford has $4,000 off MSRP plus $1,000 Ford credit cash on new 22 Ford F-150 XLT trucks. That's $5,000 off plus 0% financing. And all new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Louisiana. It's a place defined by culture, by pride, by passion, by people who do more than love this place. They celebrate it, elevate it, champion it. They are the individuals who embody what makes Louisiana great. The companies that make Louisiana a better place to work and live. The nonprofits leading transformational change in our communities. Champions of Louisiana are all around us, and LWCC is proud to celebrate them because we've always been Louisiana loyal, supporting the workers, the innovators, the change agents of this great place we call home. Who are the champions around you? Together, we can share their stories. Together, we can help our home state thrive. Together, we are Louisiana loyal. Always.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
All right, let's say ah.
Where'd my spotlight go?
Super weird, but we can take care of it.
Get in and get better at Patient Plus.
Moon Griffon is back. The voice of Louisiana politics makes his return to Baton Rouge. Catch the Moon Griffon Show weekdays from 9 to 11 a.m. on Talk 107.3.
Follow us on Twitter at 1045ESPN to cast your vote in the Citizens Bank and Trust Poll of the Day. Vote daily inside Off the Bench, anytime. Hunt Palmer. And after further review, Citizens Bank and Trust brings you the Poll of the Day via Twitter at 1045ESPN. After further review with Matt Moscona, ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria. Presented by Plucker's Wing Bar. Open till midnight or later every night of the week, where every Monday is all-you-can-eat wings. Plucker's Wing Bar. If you don't like our wings, we'll give you the bird.
Well, I think if you sit around and feel sorry for yourself, or you allow your habits to suffer, it's certainly not going to be a pathway forward. I think that's important that we continue to stress those things and also challenge our players in the areas where we've got to make improvement at a faster rate. And so that's how we're trying to do it with great intentionality and be very purposeful in everything we're trying to do.
Tigers on the road tonight in Como. They'll take on Missouri. It's an 8 o'clock tip on the SEC Network. Of course, you can listen on our sister station, Eagle 98.1. LSU has now lost 8 in a row, and they are a 10-point dog on the road against a Missouri team, which can fill it up. Missouri averaging 83 points a game. Now, defensively, they have some liabilities. Missouri does defensively. but where they make it up is where they score. They assist on 17 baskets a game, and they are active defensively. They average 11 steals a game. It's just not a great matchup for an LSU team that turns it over and doesn't score. You're going up against a team that turns you over and scores a lot. So that's why the line is what it is. Here was Matt McMahon giving a bit of a thumbnail scouting report on the Missouri Tigers.
They play extremely hard. They really value the three-point shot. I believe their last two games, they're up around 30 makes in the last two games from behind the arc. Do a great job with their pressure defense, force a lot of turnovers. I think from an offensive standpoint, Kobe Brown's a guy who's played more like a 4 as an All-SEC player. They've moved him down to the 5 spot, really space you out. Put 5 guys out on the floor that can shoot it. A lot of ball screens and dribble handoffs. Just got to give them credit. They've done a great job of building around Brown.
They're 4-4. Missouri is in the conference, 16-5 overall. They beat Iowa State in the SEC Big Ten Challenge this past weekend. You can look to last week's game against Ole Miss as a comp. This was a game they played on the road and won 89-77. But Ole Miss, like LSU, is bringing up the rear in the Southeastern Conference. LSU 1-7 in the league. Ole Miss is 1-8 in the league. They're at the bottom of South Carolina. But a team that struggles to score and doesn't really defend very well. But 89-77 was the final there. I think you probably see something similar. I think LSU can crack 70 in this ball game. I don't know that they can keep Missouri under 80. But they'll have to play a game. I keep waiting for – I don't know that there's going to be a great opportunity to pick LSU to win a game until they get through this gauntlet. The home game against South Carolina on February 18th is probably the next time LSU will be favored in a game. They're not favored tonight, obviously. They're not going to be favored when they play Alabama this weekend. They're at Mississippi State. They'll be an underdog. They'll be a home dog to Texas A&M. They'll probably be a road underdog to Georgia, although that'll be close, and they'll have a chance to win that game. But Georgia's 4-4 in the league, and it's surprising people. It's that back-to-back-to-back stretch where you play home against South Carolina, home against Vanderbilt, at Ole Miss, whose best players quit the team today, that you're going to have a chance to maybe string together some wins. But it's going to be too little, too late, and you just wonder what the psyche of this team is amid an 8-game losing streak. If by the time they get to South Carolina they don't win again, it will have gotten to 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. They would be likely amid a 13-game losing streak by the time they play South Carolina if they can't manage to swipe one of these games. And if they do, I don't think it's something that's going to be predictable. I think it's going to be one of those things. The best example I can give you that I've shared a couple of times is the game they played against Vanderbilt during the COVID year. And Vanderbilt was terrible. Vanderbilt had like a 26-game SEC losing streak. LSU went up to Memorial Gym that day. And as I recall, that ended up being a day game. Odd. It was weird. It was a COVID year and all that stuff. But anyway, Vanderbilt scored 99 points that day. It was just uncanny. Everything they threw in the air went into the basket. And they scored 99 points and beat LSU like 99-90. And it was something nobody could have predicted. That was a tournament, or would have been a tournament team, had the tournament actually happen that year. But it was a game that LSU just went on the road, quirky place to play there at Vanderbilt, and Vanderbilt popped them. And maybe LSU can catch someone like that if they play a near flawless game, but it's just going to be really hard to predict that in any event. I'm looking this up, but it was 99-90. I wonder what the tip time was. Let me see if I can find this real quick. It's weird. It's weird. It was an 8 o'clock tip. Never mind. Sometimes the things that you remember. I remember. I thought maybe I was listening to that game driving around downtown Baton Rouge. Sometimes you do that, like you put yourself you associate memory with time and place. And for some reason, I associate that game with driving around in downtown Baton Rouge. Our studios are downtown. But I remember maybe driving around downtown going to get lunch that day, and I thought we were listening to that game. But anyway, it was a 26-game losing streak that Vanderbilt had, and they upset number 18 LSU 99-90. It would just be one of those. Like number 2 Alabama going to unranked Oklahoma this weekend and getting absolutely spanked. Something that's impossible to predict, but a day where everything you put in the air goes into the basket, and that's what LSU is going to need. They're going to have an uncommon scoring day to end this losing streak, unless if they're able to get to that point later in the season where they have Ole Miss and Vanderbilt and South Carolina on the schedule back to back to back. All right, it's After Further Review. We're brought to you by the Williamson Eye Center. 924-2020. 924-2020 or WilliamsonEye.com. That's WilliamsonEye.com for the Williamson Eye Center. Maybe part of your New Year's resolution was to go for that consultation and get LASIK. If you haven't done it yet, let this be your push. The Williamson Eye Center. Dr. Blake Williamson and the gang over there do incredible work. If you go follow the Williamson Eye Center on social media, you'll see Dr. Blake presenting at conferences all over the world. That's because he's among the forefront, the foremost innovators in the field of ophthalmology. The latest procedures, he brings them to Louisiana. And I'm telling you, there's nobody better to walk you through the procedure, to make you feel comfortable about it, and to get you results with precision. It's the Williamson Eye Center. Call 924-2020. Go for that free consultation, 924-2020, or WilliamsonEye.com. If you have ever thought about refractive surgery, no matter your age or your refractive issue, you have to go to the Williamson Eye Center. 924-2020 or WilliamsonEye.com. All right, it is After Further Review. Today's National Signing Day. Not a lot on the docket. For LSU, there's literally nothing on the docket. This is the first time ever that LSU did not sign a player in the traditional February signing day. Some of the notable aspects today, Jaden Rashada, the quarterback who infamously had an 8-figure deal with Florida's Gator Collective that they ultimately pulled, and he asked out of his letter of intent. Jaden Rashada today committed to Arizona State. It's where his dad played college football, so it's actually a big win for Kenny Dillingham, the new quarterback or new coach there at Arizona State. As far as the SEC, Arkansas land 4-star tight end Shamar Easter. Kentucky flipped a 4-star defensive lineman Kendrick Gilbert from Purdue. Of course, their head coach, Jeff Brom, left for Louisville. South Carolina got probably the biggest news of the day. Nicholas Harbor, one of the top 50 players in the country, one of the top uncommitted players in the country, and some big-time offers. Michigan, Oregon, USC, LSU was on the list of finalists as well. Nicholas Harbor picked South Carolina, as we anticipated he would. And 5-star cornerback Ellis Robinson, the fourth, picked Georgia. So the volume wasn't there. There were a handful of really good players in the country that had been uncommitted or unsigned who made their decisions today, and some of them involving SEC schools. But LSU is going to finish, it looks like, in the composite with the 5th best class in the country as far as the high school class, the number 1 class as far as the transfer portal. And when you blend the two classes, LSU is number 4. So a really strong job by Brian Kelly and the staff reworking this roster using both the high school crop and the transfer portal to rebuild and supplement in spots that you needed. And off they go. Spring football is right around the bend for LSU, and they'll be looking ahead to a very highly anticipated 2023 football season. All right, y'all, it is After Further Review. Hump Day shows are brought to you by Pluckers. We've got a busy night. Of course, Pluckers has trivia tonight, and T-Bob and I every Wednesday are over at Oliver Twist for Scone and Tea. T-Bob is in Mobile for the Senior Bowl, so I'm solo tonight over at the Oliver Twist for Scone and Tea, but hopefully you'll come hang out. Oliver Twist, which is right behind Solu on Perkins, come hang out with us. Or if you can't be there at Oliver Twist, join us on the Watch 104.5 ESPN YouTube channel. So for however you're watching right now on YouTube, you can watch us tonight for Scone and Tea from Oliver Twist. We're looking forward to a good show tonight. So it's After Further Review. Quick break. We'll come back. Speaking of Pluckers trivia, we always do a little Pluckers trivia scene setter, a little tone setter. We'll get some Pluckers trivia questions out there and set the mood. It's coming up here on AFR.
AFR.
All right, y'all. We're heading toward another great weekend. I know it's only Wednesday, but we're over the hump. So if you're starting to think about what you're going to do this weekend, make sure you get by Clegg's Nursery. It is a great time to just plant something. Tell you that all the time. Just plant something. But this really is a great time. The weather's not too cold, but even still, there are winter bedding plants and flowers that love this cool weather. Also, maybe you've thought about planting that vegetable garden. It's a great thing to do with the whole family. Go get your seeds. Go get Johnny Naylor's seeds, some of the potato seeds. They've got them at Clegg's Nursery. And if you're not sure what to do, they have the answers. So go find someone in a blue Clegg's Nursery shirt, ask one of their horticulturists for help, and they'll give you all the advice that you need. It's Clegg's Nursery. They got shipments arriving every single day, so they got full greenhouses. And remember, at Clegg's, They're partnered with True Value Hardware Store, so anything you'd find at a True Value Hardware Store, you'll also find at Clegg's Nursery. Buy local, shop local at Clegg's Nursery.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $8,500 off new 2022 Ram 1500s. New 2022 Ram 1500 trucks on our lot now with $8,500 off MSRP. All new Bayou vehicles come with a 1 million mile warranty. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou is going to do right by you.
Louisiana. It's a place defined by culture, by pride, by passion, by people who do more than love this place. They celebrate it, elevate it, champion it. They are the individuals who embody what makes Louisiana great. The companies that make Louisiana a better place to work and live. The nonprofits leading transformational change in our communities. Champions of Louisiana are all around us, and LWCC is proud to celebrate them because we've always been Louisiana loyal, supporting the workers, the innovators, the change agents of this great place we call home. Who are the champions around you? Together, we can share their stories. Together, we can help our home state thrive. Together, we are Louisiana loyal. Always.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Start your day with news and newsmakers. Start your day with traffic, weather, and local stories that are important to you. Kickstart your day every day. Mornings with Brian Haldane from 6 to 9 a.m. Weekdays on Talk 107.3.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Follow us on Twitter at 1045ESPN to cast your vote in the Citizens Bank and Trust Poll of the Day. Vote daily inside Off the Bench, anytime. Hunt Palmer. And after further review, Citizens Bank and Trust brings you the Poll of the Day via Twitter at 10. After further review with Matt Moscona, ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria. Presented by Plucker's Wing Bar. Open till midnight or later every night of the week, where every Monday is all-you-can-eat wings. Plucker's Wing Bar. If you don't like our wings, we'll give you the bird.
Good morning, guys. I'll get to the point right away. I'm retiring. For good.
Tom Brady, 1 year after retiring, not for good. They would retire 40 days later. Has retired again. Last year was on February 1st. Again, on February 1st, Tom Brady steps away. Our poll question earlier today was involving Tom Brady and his decision if it'll stick. What do the people say there, Muse?
89% say yes, Matt.
Yeah.
They think he's actually retiring.
Yeah, I think if you're part of the 11%, I don't blame you for being skeptical because we saw him before do it. I don't know why it feels different, maybe as a result of the season they had and what happened with his personal life and all of those things. There's not really a ton of incentive to come back. If he were going to come back, I think it would have to be a great scenario. I think we heard Ian Rappaport say earlier, Brady's children are now in Florida. It doesn't look like he would be back in Tampa because if he played again, he would go to a spot where I feel like he could win another Super Bowl. That's clear. Tampa's clearly not built for that anymore. With a lot of the roster turnover they've had. So does Brady go to the Jets? Does he go to the Raiders? They're just, you might have been able to make a case for San Francisco, until we saw Brock Purdy have the finish he did. And if you're San Francisco, I think you bet longer term on Lance Purdy than 1 year with 46-year-old Tom Brady. Or maybe that's the decision that they'd have to make. But in any event, and if Brady doesn't want to be on the other side of the country from his children, I think any parent could respect that. Wanting to be near your kids and spending time with them. So 23 years of the GOAT hanging it up. And I believe him. I think that's it, and we'll see him on Fox next year. We're going to get to Plucker's Trivia here in just a quick second. The other thing, and we intended to do this yesterday, but yesterday we were an hour into the show, or half an hour into the show, and the Sean Payton to Denver news broke, and so that just commanded a lot of our attention yesterday. Urban Meyer gave an interview. And I think anytime Urban speaks, it's going to be interesting for a lot of reasons. There's the salacious nature of him talking about his exit to Jacksonville and all that, but also because he's one of the greatest college football coaches ever, of this or any generation. Won 2 titles at Florida, won another one at Ohio State. He was transformative offensively. There's no denying. He won at Bowling Green, he won at Utah, he won at Florida, he won at Ohio State. And if he were to get back into coaching, wherever he goes, makes them an immediate contender. I don't even think that's debatable. So the question is whether or not he would coach again. And Urban Meyer, can you play number 2, please? Doesn't seem to think that that's actually ever going to happen.
No desire. And of course, I think I'd do some things differently. And, I was excited to see because they have a lot of different players. And when I was there, they did a really good job in free agency this year. But, to me, and you guys know this, it's fun. It's kind of funny when you say the NFL is a quarterback league. Pop Warner's a quarterback league. So is high school. No question. Right. It's a quarterback sport. And when you get a killer like Trevor Lawrence or a J.T. Barrett or a Cardell Jones or Tim Tebow, you got a chance. So they got a great future.
He was talking about Jacksonville, but at the beginning you heard him say there's no chance. That was in reference to him potentially coaching again. Now, I don't know if I believe him. That's a better poll question because I think you would get a far more polarizing result there with Urban Meyer. And one thing we've seen, and I remember, there was this period in the last decade, and Urban Meyer is 58 years old. There was this period in the last decade where this was something we saw happen more commonly. Bob Stoops, Gene Chizik, Urban Meyer, Turner Gill. We saw these coaches in their 50s who were retiring young, relatively young, relative to their sport. And I remember then saying, I'm going to be interested to watch this to see if this is a trend that continues, because the biggest difference now and over the last 100 years is the money. So if you are Urban Meyer or you're Bob Stoops and you grind your face off with 80-hour, 100-hour work weeks, 52 weeks out of the year, 51 weeks out of the year, and you grind from the time you're 22 to the time you're 50, and you make more money you can ever spend and you sacrifice everything with your family, your personal life, everything, and you hit 50, you go, I got all the money in the world. I'm done. I'm going to go enjoy all the money in the world. The question is, could they do it? Well, Herb got back in. Gene Chizik got back in. He's now the defensive coordinator at North Carolina. Turner Gill, while he's not coaching, is an admin at Arkansas within their athletic department dealing with the football program. Bob Stoops is coaching the XFL. Like, all these guys couldn't stay away. And I think the thesis is just understanding that if whatever it is that's wired within you to be an elite head coach, whatever that thing is, I don't have it, but whatever it is that's wired deep within you to be an elite level head coach, you can't turn it off. All the tugs and pulls in the world can tell you, man, you made your money, spend your time with your family, relax, go play golf, go to the beach. And some guys just can't do it. It's why they are what they are. I don't know that I have a greater explanation, but with all these guys leaving and coming back, I think illustrates that. And so at 58, I don't know if Urban Meyer is going to spend the next 20, 30, 40 years of his life, however long he lives, not coaching. I guess he probably gets back in at some point, somewhere. Look at Mac Brown. Mac Brown got run at Texas, sat out, and couldn't do it. Back in at 70 years old, he gets back in, coaching up there in North Carolina. So, he's in his 60s, but you understand the point. All right, it's after further review. We're glad you're hanging out with us here. We're going to get to Otterlock shortly. We'll do some Pluckers trivia in a second, but I got to remind you about Shaw Bills first. Shaw Bills Tire and Auto Service, ShawBillsTire.com. That's ShawBillsTire.com. Shaw Bills is home of the Charlie's Dozen. That's a dozen benefits extended not only to your vehicle, but every vehicle in your family when you buy tires at Shaw Bills. They're going to sell you name brand tires at wholesale prices, but more importantly, they're going to treat you like family. And at Shaw Bills, our family's growing. The Laplace location number 18 is coming soon. Can't wait to tell you when the doors are open and you can get on in there to Shaw Bills in Laplace. From Morgan City to Baton Rouge to Lafayette, Denham Springs, and Laplace coming soon. Shaw Bills is here to serve, and they treat you like family. Bumper-to-bumper auto service, name brand tires at wholesale prices. Ask about the Charlie's Dozen at Shaw Bills, where we keep you rolling. All right, Muse, hit me with a little trivia music, if you would. Excited about this one.
We got a theme?
Looks like these are shows.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know if we had like a set, like if they were doing like a,
like TV shows.
Yeah, okay.
Ish, movies-ish. I don't know. Feel really good about it, Muse.
Oh Lord.
Really good about
every
this
time
one.
you say that, it goes horribly wrong.
Yeah,
so.
this is going to go horribly wrong for you. I don't think you're going to get any of these, actually. I think you're going over.
All right.
Yeah.
We had a pretty good. We had a good week last week. A little 2-1 last week.
Yeah. I don't think you're going 2-1.
All right, hit me with it.
Get the buzzer ready.
All right.
All right, Muse. Which Cheers cast member provided the voice of the prospector in Toy Story 2?
The guy who played Norm. Who played Norm? I can't remember his name in real life, but Norm.
No. We're looking for Kelsey Grammer. Kelsey Grammer was the answer there.
Frasier.
See, if you had said the guy who played Frasier,
yeah.
I might have been a benevolent monarch here and given you that one. Maybe I'd have given you a half a point. But alas, no. You're not letting me down so far, Muse. You're not letting me down so far.
I did not know that was Kelsey Grammer that did Prospect. That's interesting.
All right, Muse. What show's theme song contains this line? Call me, beat me, if you want to reach me.
That's Kim Possible, Matt.
Hey! What the hell is Kim Possible?
It was a cartoon on the Disney Channel in the early 2000s. Probably like 2004.
Was that when you still need your mama to wipe your booty? I have no idea what Kim Possible is.
No, it was just a cartoon show.
Well, you were 10. You were 10-ish?
11, 9-ish? Probably. 11.
Yeah. So, yeah. No, I had no shot. So you were still watching cartoons then?
Was that still watch cartoons now at 29?
But the point is, you were not watching. You don't like regularly watch cartoons. You don't seek out cartoons. I wouldn't imagine.
It depends on the day, honestly. But
like you're watching what, Looney Tunes?
Dude, I will watch Looney Tunes.
No, I will watch. Like if I'm passing by a TV and Looney Tunes, fine.
So you know the channel Boomerang?
No.
Oh, it plays all the classic cartoons like Looney Tunes, Tom and Jerry, Scooby-Doo from the 60s, Flintstones, Dexter's Lab, things like that. Yeah, I will absolutely stop on that channel if I see something that I used to love as a kid and watch it and still laugh.
What's your favorite cartoon?
Scooby-Doo.
When was the last time you watched Scooby-Doo?
Last year. Last fall.
So it's been a year. So you don't
No, it hasn't been a year. It was last fall. It's February.
You said last fall.
That's not a year ago. Last fall a year ago will be when we get to this fall.
Muse.
Last fall was 3 months ago. What are you talking about?
Then you would have said this fall.
But it's not fall anymore. It's winter.
It is so damn hard to have a conversation with you sometimes.
It's not. If you pass fall, you're talking about last fall.
Hey, Paul, when he said last fall, did you think he meant fall of 2022 or fall of 2021?
Yeah, I thought he meant.
Of course,
2 years ago.
Yeah. All right, let's just do this last damn question so we could stop this. It's just like, it's so hard to make progress.
Going for the upset here.
You made that. I didn't know what Kim Possible was, but then I forgot, we got a decade between us, so there's a chance. Let's see. All right, Muse. And this would actually prove the theory that if I think you're going to do terrible, you're going to do well. If I think you're going to do well, you're going to do terrible. All right, here we go. What was the first theatrically released? Oh, yeah, you got no shot. The first. Sorry. When I read it, I'm like, yeah, you got no shot. What was the first theatrically released Disney sequel?
The Disney sequel? Okay, just like Disney movie, or are we talking about that's vague, but okay, the first Disney
theatrically released
okay.
in the theater.
Okay.
Disney sequel. The first sequel. I would not have guessed this at all. Would not have known. I wouldn't have even had a guess.
Yeah, I don't. That's the thing. I'm trying to think of all the theatrical movies, and I don't think any of them had a sequel. Is it that terrible sequel to The Lion King? Lion King 2 or whatever?
No, that's not. The Rescuers Down Under.
I've never heard of that.
Is that maybe like Fievel? Is it like Fievel, The American Tale? Fievel Goes West? Is that maybe the sequel? I have no idea. The Rescuers Down Under. Anyway. All right, Muse. A losing record yet again. And doesn't know his direction and time coordinates.
But I avoided the sweep, so that's good.
You did avoid the sweep. Congratulations on that. All right. Otter already gave us a couple of plays for today. And 4-1 yesterday for the Otter. Gave us a couple of plays already. We'll see what he's got this evening for the rest of the slate. Stick around. It's AFR.
AFR.
Brought to you by New Orleans Flooring. So I've told you, by the way, the response to our friends at New Orleans Flooring has been awesome. So thank you to everyone who's gone by, who's seen Big Sean and Terrell over there at New Orleans Flooring in Prairieville. I know people say, New Orleans Flooring in Prairieville? Yes, they've got their store in New Orleans, in Metairie, but they've also got their Baton Rouge location, which is in Prairieville on Airline. So if you're going south on Airline, you pass the Walmart on Airline, look to the right. I mean, it's right there. Well, they keep over 1 million square foot of flooring in stock. And last year's colors have to go, so they got to make room for the new inventory coming in. So all of last year's colors are discounted incredibly. You can get flooring for as low as $1.79 per square foot. That's absurd. If you're a contractor, if you're flipping a house, if you're a do-it-yourselfer, if you're just looking to change the flooring in your home, you got to go to New Orleans Flooring. NOLAflooring.com.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Bayou Ford has $4,000 off MSRP plus $1,000 Ford credit cash on new 22 Ford F-150 XLT trucks. That's $5,000 off plus 0% financing. And all new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
All right, let's say ah.
Where'd my spotlight go?
Super weird, but we can take care of it.
Get in and get better at Patient Plus.
Louisiana. It's a place defined by culture, by pride, by passion, by people who do more than love this place. They celebrate it, elevate it, champion it. They are the individuals who embody what makes Louisiana great. The companies that make Louisiana a better place to work and live. The nonprofits leading transformational change in our communities. Champions of Louisiana are all around us, and LWCC is proud to celebrate them because we've always been Louisiana loyal, supporting the workers, the innovators, the change agents of this great place we call home. Who are the champions around you? Together, we can share their stories. Together, we can help our home state thrive. Together, we are Louisiana loyal. Always.
Moon Griffon is back. The voice of Louisiana politics makes his return to Baton Rouge. Catch the Moon Griffon Show weekdays from 9 to 11 a.m. on Talk 107.3.
There it is, the extra mile. On the border of expected and extraordinary. For those willing to go further. Like vans customized for work or play. With safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving.
After further review with Matt Moscona, ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria. Presented by Plucker's Wing Bar. Open till midnight or later every night of the week, where every Monday is all-you-can-eat wings. Plucker's Wing Bar. If you don't like our wings, we'll give you the bird.
Down the stretch, we come final segment here on a Hump Day edition of AFR, presented by Pluckers. Trivia tonight, 7:30 Blue Bonnet, 8 o'clock at Nicholson. Get on by. One thing left to do, find out what we're betting on tonight. Time for Otter Locks.
Otter Locks, presented by Lofton Staffing Services. At Lofton, we put people to work. Call us today at 924-0200 or go to lofton.jobs.
So we turn to the one and only, the incomparable and often incomprehensible, the Ott Father himself, after a 4-1 night. Cashing tickets, Jimmy Ott. Otter, how are you?
That'd be 5-1. State.
Wait, I had 5-1.
Horny Toads, Canes, Hogs, Running Rebels. One loser, K-State.
What? I missed Miami. I had UNLV,
Is that
Arkansas.
because you had four on DK, on DraftKings?
No.
Remember how we were talking about it?
I know we were talking about that, and there's another one. I'll tell you, Otter, I played UNLV at 3. I played Kansas State at 9. I played Arkansas at 3 and TCU at 2. I just must have missed.
I can only lead you to water.
I know, and I played the Mississippi State game. But again, sometimes when I'm doing this quickly on air, trying to get it all in, I miss.
And some people get on us on Twitter, so let's get to it.
All right. So 5-1 yesterday for the Otter.
Ring my bell, Musso. Yeah, I just like saying ring my bell. So anyway, Pitt plus 8.5. This is compliments of my buddy Greg Waddell. We'll hear the explanation of his 6 o'clock plays right at the start of the show. He has an 8 o'clock play with us as well. So Pitt plus 8.5. I think it's minus 105.
Are we buying that to 9?
We're gonna 7 or under is our threshold there. We're gonna go 5.5 on 7 or under. Okay. Under Tennessee, Florida, 132.
All right. I'm looking at 132.5. Do I buy the half a point?
Even better. No. Not on totals.
Okay.
Not on totals. Georgia Tech, minus 1.5. Buy it if you got it 1.5. I've seen some 2s. Hopefully you have a 1.5 out there.
All right. Georgia Tech. I'm looking at 1.
Oh, but even better. Hello. Holla.
DraftKings is rolling right now. Okay.
Value at the crap bowl tonight in Louisville. The yum. Yeah. All right. Back to the Big East.
Okay.
My specialty. Catholic school for 13 years. I know a little bit about the Catholic League, a.k.a. the Big East. Marquette used to be the Warriors. Now they're the Golden Eagles.
Yeah.
Used to have Mark Peterson. Now they got Shaka Smart. But they're playing Villanova. We have a debate, whether who's going to miss their coach more, their legendary coach more, Villanova or Duke, Jay Wright or Coach K. This year, Villanova misses their coach more. They are way below their normal. Marquette, good. Minus 6.5. Do you have?
I do, 6.5.
All right, buy it to 6.
Buy it to 6, okay.
And then Greg Waddell has an 8 o'clock pick. He's got Oklahoma in the Bedlam at home tonight.
All right, let me see if I can see this line here. Oklahoma. All right, Oklahoma laying 3.5, so buy it to 3?
Yes.
All right, so Oklahoma, we're going to get the alternate spread. We're going to buy that 3, and the Oklahoma minus is minus 130.
1 minute remaining.
All right, Oklahoma minus 3. All right, so Pitt plus 8.5. The Tennessee Florida under. Georgia Tech, DraftKings has it at 1. Marquette minus 6. Oklahoma minus 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that's in addition to the early bets that Otter already gave us, which were Xavier laying 4 and Purdue laying 10.
Xavier's up 14, Purdue's up 2 right now. We're celebrating anniversaries today. First of all, it is the anniversary of Tom Brady's retirement, and it's also the 5-year anniversary of Roca Italian Pizzeria.
Let's go. Roca's a great spot, man. God, that's a great spot. So you're at Roca tonight?
Yes, indeed.
Roca's a great spot, man. If you love pizza, you like the Mid-City vibe on Government Street, go check out Roca, y'all. All right, Otter, have a great show.
Thank you, Matt. Good luck.
All right, thanks, man. Muse, Paulie, thanks so much. We'll see you tomorrow at 3.
AFR.
As we get on down the road, remind you about Mold Zero USA, mold-0usa.com. Again, mold-0usa.com. I want to remind you that, of course, our friends over at Mold Zero USA, Jim Woodworth and the whole gang over there, they do awesome work. It's a patented, non-toxic dry fog treatment. So if you have mold and you're thinking, God, I got to cut sheetrock and pull out insulation, don't. Not before you call Mold Zero. Mold-0usa.com, servicing Greater Baton Rouge and Greater New Orleans. So wherever you are in Greater Baton Rouge, Greater New Orleans, they'll come to you. So really anywhere in the 225 or the 504, they'll come to you. Remember, they'll give you a free estimate, and this is such an easy process. But they also do remediation work as well. So if you have water in the house or you need remediation work, they can help you as well. It's mold-0usa.com. Check out the website. Make sure you learn more, ask more. You can see helpful, informative videos about the process. Mold-0usa.com.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like Vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Louisiana. It's a place defined by culture, by pride, by passion, by people who do more than love this place. They celebrate it, elevate it, champion it. They are the individuals who embody what makes Louisiana great. The companies that make Louisiana a better place to work and live. The nonprofits leading transformational change in our communities. Champions of Louisiana are all around us, and LWCC is proud to celebrate them because we've always been Louisiana loyal, supporting the workers, the innovators, the change agents of this great place we call home. Who are the champions around you? Together, we can share their stories. Together, we can help our home state thrive. Together, we are Louisiana loyal. Always.